We're very glad to be here with you guys at TCU. Thank you for hosting us. We're team number one, so we're the first presenting, but we're the first leading, so we would like to keep it as number one. I'm Eduardo, I'm from Mexico, I'm a Rice MBA student.
I'm Michael Schoenfelder, a TCU student.
I'm Hope Scott, I'm a Columbia University student.
Hi, I'm Mukund, I'm from WashU, Olin Business School.
Okay, we're 5 minutes behind, guys, so let's roll. All right, thank you all so much for being with us today. We were faced with the task of deciding whether or not we should bundle the Lemon brand with the Imagine brand yogurt cookies in the online retail space with Amazon. We've determined that this would not be a strategy to go with, and today we'll go over why we believe that this wouldn't be a strategy to go for and what our alternative recommendation would be. So I'll start off with why we decided that we are not going to recommend co-branding or bundling these packages together. You can see here a chart of where the Lemon brand sits compared to some of its competitors. And with the Lemon brand not being a zero-calorie brand like some of the other sparkling waters, and with it not exactly being in line with what where your placement with the Imagine brand are, as far as that being focused on children, we've determined that those two products don't necessarily fit together in a way that a two-product bundle would make the most sense. So instead, we've decided that we are going to go with a different bundling strategy for each product.
So how do we choose and how do we reach this conclusion? So as you can see here, here we have the $25 million that that PepsiCo sells through Amazon based on the data we got. So as you can see, the variety packs are like the top sellers, as opposed to like Imagine recently launched 2 months ago, and they have like very small contribution. And also you can see that here that the sparkling it's a rather limited size on PepsiCo. This is PepsiCo Amazon channel only. What makes sense? Like we want to grow these are two fantastic products, obviously. So what do we want to do with this? We want to put this together with a strong seller that can raise the consumption and reach the homes. We want to do the same with the Lemon product. So how do we maximize the purchases so that the product is on the home and we can drive trial in homes and raise the awareness of these two products? So basically what we said is, here's an example. We said like this is the top category popcorn. So what's the best SKU that is top seller in Amazon? So we have one SKU that's selling $800,000 as opposed to $1,000 of Imagine SKU that was just launched. So why don't we bundle these two together? Because it's slow sales. You will not get any incremental there. You need to bundle with something that has already a strong consumption. So we use this approach to say from categories that we're alike in order to say, okay, this makes sense. And the price point will make sense as well for the consumer. So we are proposing not to give up. No, that's not what we want. We want to raise sales and also drive profits, for shareholders. So what we want to do is a popcorn 2-pack, which is a top seller, and then include the lemonade there. And also we want to the top sellers from the categories under review, which are the grandmas and the Quaker cookies, put it together with the Imagine, so that we can raise the consumption. So how do we define and select the bundles? So basically we said, okay, we have a 20 count that's a top seller. Currently the price point is $7. And we have a 12 count. Provided the information on the case that the average consumption of 38%, it's 1 can per month, there's a huge opportunity to grow this amazing product. So what we're saying is, the opportunity is to be in the consumer's fridge on the right time. So how do we do that? Put it with a top seller, and we believe, based on the information analysis of consumption we did, like we can move from 12 cans every 3 months in a millennial home of 4 persons, that's the assumption, to at least 4x raise based on you will switch consumption. They will consume 2 cans per week as opposed to only 1 can per week. So there's a 4x raising potential. Do we put that on the financials? Of course not. You need to be a little bit more conservative on the financials and for planning purposes. You don't want to end up with a mountain of inventory of bundles that you have to recustomize afterwards. So what we're saying is, let's put a conservative uplift when we go to the S&OP planning process. So this is an uplift in churn to X. This is what the rationale behind Imagine. So we already finished and wrap up the lemon. So this is. Today we have categories on review in the US, 2.4 million out of 27 million. But what they have in common is that they have their similar categories, Quaker, Grandmas, and if you look at out of the 2.4, the top SKU, it's the Grandmas and the Quaker, so we follow a similar strategy, and we see a potential of 2x versus the last in and out execution.
Just really quickly, we're going to run through the pricing. The details are not necessarily what's important here, but what's important here is to understand that the product is profitable, so it was important to figure out a way to increase the sales. The bottom got cut off, but under the assumptions of everyday pricing and promotional pricing for the sake of conservatism, the net price or profit per case is about $7.40, which is about a 35% margin under the assumptions of everyday pricing. It goes down a little bit with promotional pricing to about $5.90, but it's still attractive. So this is the price that we decided to include in the bundle. We then added the price of the other elements to the bundle to create the whole price. And then the next slide, please. So this is the same thing. Margins are a little bit less attractive under this situation, but they're still positive. So we wanted to emphasize incremental growth rather than optimizing growth, because we thought that would be the best way to grow market share. Is this going to be positive contribution margin? If it is, we wanted to proceed, and that's how we sort of got to the bundle we did. Next.
Okay, so slide before. Okay, so we were considering, as it mentioned in the case, like we are going to possibly launch in 2018. Yes, it's available on Amazon right now, but when is the time when we can actually start doing this process that we have been discussing about? 2 seasons that we considered when the sales are possibly going to be high, especially for products that we do. Super Bowl is one specific time when people tend to snack a lot. Even though you associate like alcohol probably with like drinking during Super Bowl, lemonade or lemon could be a possible mixer that we are thinking about, like which just goes together. Popcorn is the thing that we are bundling it with. It sort of is a snack which will go really well with during the Super Bowl time. The back to school bundle is basically when kids go back to school. It's just going to be, that's when we do our launch for the Imagine Crisps. It's not an either or. Yes, we say that this will be a good time to launch it, but like we can obviously launch a pricing bundle at any specific time. But these are like gives the seasonality of when the sales tend to go high up. We are saying, okay, this will be a great time to actually create a bundle specific to the season.
We believe that part of the philosophy is to have the right product in the right moment at the right time. So being this in and out, some of the bundles have lower margin. So we want to also drive consumption on the base products that are listed in Amazon. So that's why we are proposing the in and out execution for these products, and also to limit the production in order to test the bundle.
Mm-hmm. So I think Michael touched on the healthy aspect of the product. Considering that, okay, so in a way that's how we ended up splitting the consumer base as well. Yes, Imagine is going to be the millennial parents. Yes, both of them are the millennial customers. But when you think about how do I target a specific person on Amazon, I'm going to target someone who's looking for health food options, or someone who's recently searched for fitness, or something related to organic foods. Basically, everyone who's conscious about their health. Whenever they search for something related to health aspects, that's when my product is going to pop up. That's for Imagine Crisps. And obviously we are targeting, of course, by age. Amazon tends to do the whole profiling thing of who are parents, and it's obviously from their search history we tend to understand who the customer is. Second one, for the level target customers, since we are saying it's not so health conscious, yes, they're millennials, but we can also do a history of the grocery basket. People who tend to buy chips more often, tend to buy our popcorns more often. People who are looking at snacking, that's basically a target customer.
So from a strategic revenue perspective, and from how do we allocate wisely the marketing budget, we want to present this model, which is David Elder's one in HP Harvard Business Review, that how to brand in the digital area and allocate the resources where they create value. So basically, the sales before the digital area was like a funnel, like where the consumer will start with a lot of brands and see the TV ads and then make a decision. That's different today, where they start to consider, but instead of narrowing the brands, they broaden the ads in the evaluate phase. And then they review the recommendations from Amazon reviewers and from other customers or Facebook, and then they decide to buy one brand, and then they either, once they try, they either advocate for the product or they consider new purchases to other products. So we want to invest, as opposed to traditional marketing that it puts a lot of emphasis on consider and buy, we want to put a lot of money or the marketing evaluate and advocate. And here's a split. This is the allocation of the budget.
Okay, we're going to go into Q&A. So we can go ahead and start.
I'd offer up a question to anyone who needs to take this is, when you sat down with the case, just give me a couple things that you thought about right away that you had to decide that would then set the tone to come to the right decision, which I thought it was good that you put your decision right up front. So if you could give me a couple of things that you had to decide very quickly to go build out, that would be helpful.
First, we had to decide if we thought that the combination of lemon and the snacks was logical. And if we did, who would we be marketing to? For a while, we thought about maybe we wanted to market to moms. In terms of the back to school period, when people are transitioning, they're more willing to change their buying habits, so we thought that we could access them during that period. But we wanted to really understand if we thought that the value proposition of those two items in isolation would be enough to get the moms to make a buying decision. So then we decided to think about different bundles, different time periods, and ultimately we came to the conclusion that we could increase in aggregate for lemon and Imagine Snacks more so if we were to kind of link them to really high grossing items than if we were to do them on their own together, because they're both new and we wanted to really kind of link them to high selling products.
What was your rationale for the pricing that you decided? The prices
And they can refer back to slides during this or no?
Yeah.
Okay.
The pricing was really done based on the assumptions given in the case. We did.
So can we get their slides back up so she can?
Yeah. Do you want to go back to the slide that they're asking? You guys can flip through the slides as they're asking. Just you can't like explain a slide.
Yeah. So it was to include costs. Why don't we go one prior? So
One back.
yeah. So this was this assumption is with a 25% trade margin to retailers. The case stated that they had to have a 23 to 25% margin, and then it also included e-commerce costs. We didn't actually have to make a large change for how the pricing was done based on their existing retailers versus what Amazon required, because existing is 25% and then Amazon wanted 23 to 25%. So we were comfortable keeping the price point where it was, but we wanted to make sure we could maintain margins and then still bundle the products in a way which would be attractive to the customer. So if they were willing to pay for X for popcorn or X for grandmas, if we added that price together, then we thought it would be a logical purchase.
What was the discount on the bundle versus if you bought them separately? Was there any incentive to buy them together?
We didn't price one in.
So basically what we did is we stick to the pricing of the lowest range of the pricing, but we follow the pricing that was currently available for the products that are already on market. So as we said, that we are bundling with popcorn that has also value there. So what we said is we go to the bottom range that it's given on the case, and we adjust the current price that it's on the bundle. So that's basically what we did. Yeah, but yeah, we understand that we have to transfer some value to the consumer in order to drive consumption and to make the bundle attractive. So we kept that in mind, and we were very empathetic as well with the consumer. You asked what did we consider. So another thing we consider is who is the shopper. So this millennial family, the consumer is the children, for example, for the snacks. But probably for the lemon product, are the parents. And so we were sitting and we were, when the consumer is going to place the order, probably they will be more prone to place the order if they are buying products alike, with the rest of the stuff for the children. And then if the father is placing an order for snacks and a barbecue and popcorn, it's more prone to place an order with this because not only did we guess so, but we validated that with the frequently bought together items. Yeah.
What are the deliverables with market share? Do you have a page that kind of walks through how you landed on market share? Must.
There. No. There. So basically, we ask how much is the split of sales of that channel is 2.5%. But for sure, we limited based on the information we had to how much incremental consumption can we drive versus the current consumption that we have. So we said, okay, we are selling, the average consumption is 1 can per month of the 38% of the population. But let's assume, let's assume, not to be like super pessimistic, that currently the parents of this home drink 2 per month, so one bi-weekly. Per parent, base sales 12 cans every 3 months. That's the base assumption of current consumption. So that we said, okay, but we are going to chip this with another order of popcorn or whatever, so it would be in your fridge.
Did you land on an actual market share number, a percentage?
We ended on a percentage share uplift of 2%, so that's 200%. No, it's not total market share, but it's the uplift. So we size the building block. But we can go back certainly with you and send a follow-up based on the data we have. Yeah, but it's 2x versus current. Yeah.
I'm wondering how you would use the $200,000 for your marketing budget.
So basically, based on the funnel research, or the branding in the digital era, best approach that we learned from Harvard Business Review, we are trying to focus more in the evaluate stage and also in the advocate stage, as opposed to focusing only on the consumer, on the consider and the buy stages only. So we want to to appear in the search within groceries. So that's certainly necessary when they are in the evaluate stage. But we want to have good reviews there when they look at us. So in order to have good reviews, you need to also invest in the advocate stage. So once a consumer has bought your product, you want to follow up with emails and you want to send targeted sampling to those like, hey, thank you for your purchase. Would you recommend us? Get a free sampler and get back. So that way you are growing your advocate base and they will, that one slide. So with this marketing allocation, what we want to do is to get more consumers into this law as opposed to let them go again to the consider stage and the evaluate phases. So that's why we went, we were focused on our promoters.
And just to touch base a little bit further on that, in the targeted sampling, one of the things that we discussed doing, what's becoming bigger and bigger is YouTube brand advocates. You see that being very large in toy manufacturers now, as opposed to doing commercials. They're focused on having these people who test and try out toys. You're seeing the same thing in food as well. We would like to focus on doing that as opposed to maybe a more traditional TV advertisements.
And so what would be the group of consumers that you're focusing on at the end of the day with your products?
I think it's
Who are
going to
you
be
addressing?
earlier slide, which is the millennial parents, is still going to be who we target, but we are splitting the product again, if we do like an even split, which is 100,000, 100,000, it's more about health conscious millennial parents versus not so health conscious. And that's completely depending on their grocery basket history. Depending on, okay, I've always bought organic or where I tend to shop and health conscious food versus not so health conscious kind of food. So but we can do like an even split between the.
And we did because we try to be super empathetic on who is the shopper, but who is the consumer as well. So the consumer may not be the parent, but the children, but the shopper may be the parent as opposed to the children. So we need to take care of both the group segments. So we want to email marketing to the persons who already purchased in order for them to become our advocates and grow the business. But we want to make target something to our consumer. So that's why we put allocations in both, complementing what building on that comment. Yeah.
Did you consider any like the cost per impression or kind of on the cost efficiency side of the marketing, or it was more just on the strategy?
It was more on the strategy, but yeah, I mean, to the time we can work actually on that as well. So.
And in terms of cost strategy, we were very careful because when you do a bundle, you may end up with a lot of slow-moving inventory. You are not able to get rid of. If you create a lot of bundles, your complexity increases as well. So what we said is let's do two laser-focused products, but make in and out, so we can control both the production and also the overproduction as well. And the margin, because one of the products has a lower margin than the other because of the value stuff that we put in the package. So that's why.
Did you put any thought into what the marketing message would be and how your message might be different than other things that are in market right now?
So, I mean, when I was doing the research on the competition, like with the Sunny or like it came to be like, okay, these are not really a competition. That's where the whole enjoy every moment or like the sparkle thing comes up. Yes, we are doing the whole sparkling lemonade thing, but I think we were also discussing the whole nostalgia angle of lemonade. That's where we're going to focus lemonade on at least, like because that's what everyone thinks of when it comes to lemonade, and it's a good mixer. So that's nostalgia for lemonade is going to be that. That's what we're thinking of. For Imagine Kids, yes, it's the healthy kid option. Like it's your in between meal
Healthy and
filler.
tasty option, of course. Yeah, yeah.
It's your in between meal filler. It's like instead of like chewing or like snacking, giving your kid something unhealthy thing to like chew on. This is the healthy option that you go to. That's it.
Thank you.
Any other question?
Great.
Well, in that case, we thank you so much for the time and the opportunity to be here with you.
Very nice job. Thank you. It's all
David's with you.
Ricardo?
Hi, Jim.
Rachel, nice to meet you.
Rich. Hi, Jim. Hi, Rich. Nice to meet you again. Rich. Good to see you there.
The cooker is up there for you all. And then I have the time, so we'll do 10-minute presentation, and then we'll just start, we'll roll straight into 15 minutes Q&A. Do you guys want to introduce yourselves?
Sure.
Sorry, that one.
Bob Kudotz, Revenue Management. Hi, Rich Blazevich, Marketing. Hi, Jim Hathaway, Planning.
Ricardo Ormechea, Finance.
Dave Boyce, sales strategy.
Awesome.
You guys ready?
Absolutely.
All right, let's do it.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for taking the time to listen to our proposal. We're here to talk to everybody about a long-term trend in the marketplace facing PepsiCo and how PepsiCo can take advantage of it to maximize long-term value for our shareholders and better leverage Lemon Lemon and Yogurt Crisps and Imagine Brands. Just to give you an overview of how we're going to approach the presentation, we're going to explain our understanding of the situation. We're going to talk about how PepsiCo can leverage that situation and leverage the brand to improve market share for Imagine Brands and Yogurt Crisp, or sorry, Lemon Lemon. Then we're going to go explain the plan and explain our understanding of the situation, and also walk you through the marketing strategy. As we all know, PepsiCo has always made its money as a forward-thinking brand. In World War II, PepsiCo changes colors to red, white, and blue to reflect the patriotic sentiment in society. PepsiCo created the Pepsi generation in the 1960s. And its current motto is performance with a purpose. There are a lot of market trends that are changing right now. The distribution model is moving away from brick and mortar stores and moving increasingly towards the sphere of e-commerce. We believe that this is not a bad thing. We think it can be a good thing for PepsiCo if we embrace it properly. We believe that if PepsiCo embraces this space, we can maximize long-term value for its shareholders. As we know, by 2025, online shopping is going to reach about 20% of the overall market. That's valued at about $100 billion. We also know that 70% of shoppers by then will have shopped online for groceries at some point. And this trend is increasingly prevalent among millennial shoppers. So that means three things. PepsiCo must expand its e-commerce presence and take advantage of the new space to be competitive and to remain competitive. We've got to face the issue of how we can market Lulu, Lemon, and Yogurt Crisps competitively by targeting millennials. And that leads us to the question, how do we do this? My colleague Rachel is here to talk a little bit more about that.
So we have two options with these two brands that we're working with, either to bundle them or to sell them separately or to launch them sold separately. We believe that by bundling these two products on Amazon, we're actually going to boost Lemon because of the strength of the yogurt crisps. So by bundling them, we believe we're going to increase the market share from 7 to 10% over if we had sold them individually. One of our strategies here is to consider Lemon with its competitors, Dasani Sparkling Water, San Pellegrino. These are things that you typically think of as adult drinks. These are not things that you see children drinking. However, the yogurt crisps bundled with Lemon, we're thinking of targeting it more towards children through the parents. One of the reasons we thought about this is Lemon is a potentially good replacement for parents who are unwilling to give their kids 7-Up because of the high sugar content. So there's less sugar in Lemon, but enough to still make it taste good for the kids. And my colleague Carlos is going to tell you a little bit more about the numbers.
Okay, so one of the important things is we have to encourage our millennial parents to purchase the bundle offering. So what we're gonna do is, in terms of Imagine Snacks, we feel like there's a strong brand equity behind that brand. So what we're gonna do is increase the price from $3.49 to $4, and I'll get into more detail with that as you guys will see the bundle offering. So with the price point of $4, we feel that we'll have a profit of about $1.1 million per year. With Lemon, since we decided to keep that price constant at $5 because it's a new product, it's only been in the market for 6 months, so we want to make sure there's consistency behind that brand. So what we're going to do, that results in a profit of $300,000. However, with the bundled offering, we're going to actually discount 20% off the Lemon brand. So it's going to be offered as $4, so that way we encourage our target market to really purchase the bundled offering. So the increase in Imagine Snacks, that increase is going to be used to somewhat offset the discount that we're giving to Lemon to still maintain some profitability behind that. And so we feel that by lowering the cost of Lemon by $1, that's going to increase our sales volume by 65,000 to 180,000 sales units per year, which will result in a $1.5 million profit, which is also equates to 20%. And so Jenny is going to talk to us about the promotional strategy.
Thank you, Carlos. Thank you very much. So how are we going to target this family of millennials with children between the ages of 6 to 12? What we decided to do is try to focus more on very personalized and very targeted marketing for these families, because as millennials, some of us are, we know that we don't read a lot of our emails, we don't read a lot of the things that come at us. So we have decided to focus our marketing spend on AMS and AMG, and also sampling as well. So a lot of our spend is going to go to sampling. So what we're thinking is we have a display ads first of all. And, everybody sees the product, they get a sample of it, and then they get to try it out, and then they come back on Amazon and buy the product. So that's the plan for it. This has been very successful with Quaker, which has done something similar on Amazon as well. And apparently, reported about a 6x ROI on each dollar spent, is put into the marketing campaign. So we think it's going to be pretty successful on Amazon. Some other things that, next slide. Thank you. So it's a fun combination of healthy and tasty, right? So first of all, product packaging remains the same. It's quite catchy. It's fun. It's young. The price is going to be premium for individual purchases, but it's going to be discounted for bundle offers. We're really going to leverage sampling, like we said. And in terms of place, it's an online focus, but there's something else that we thought was a great spin. We're going to give coupons to people who actually buy in store for them to buy online. So for example, it's going to be cheaper to buy it online than buy it in store. Okay? So for example, if you go into, I don't know what popular store you shop at, but if you go into your Walmart, right, and you buy lemon lemon, you get a code on lemon lemon. It says, oh, children like to tear up these things from the packs and etc. If you scan it on your phone, you can get this discounted on Amazon with a free gift, etc., like a toy, etc. So it incentivizes parents to buy more of this online. And these are the ideas that we have for. And James, can you back for?
Luckily, this is also a low-risk proposal. If the bundle doesn't work out, obviously we know Amazon will make changes to that within the first 30 days. So not that we're advocating that this is not going to work. This absolutely, we believe, will work. But if it doesn't, it's a $16,000 investment in advertisement that we've lost. But like we said, we believe this is positioned for long-term success. We believe that this is where the marketplace is going. We believe that we can leverage Yogurt Crisp's brand equity with Lemon Lemon to improve the sales for that product through this bundle and develop some brand equity for Lemon Lemon as well. Additionally, we think that this will net us $1.7 million over the next 3 years. So we think this positions us very well for the long term and embraces a long-term trend that's happening in the marketplace, which we believe PepsiCo has always been successful at doing and will continue to do to make it successful for the long term. Open up to questions.
First of all, excellent job. Really, really cool.
Thank you.
You mentioned something though that we've run into this before. I wonder if you thought this through. So it sounded like one of your ideas was incenting people. You would buy it in Walmart and we'd send you to go buy it in Amazon. Mm-hmm. How do you think Walmart would react to that?
Well, so I think that, for example, when we used to have Frosties or Frosted Flakes, and then they give us all those. I mean, it's up to the consumer to choose where they're going to buy the product, and they could still buy it on Amazon either way. So Walmart, I don't think. Well, how would Walmart respond?
I guess maybe I misunderstood.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to do something in store on the pack or with coupon in a Walmart store, as an example.
Yeah.
That would tell you buy this product here and then go to get it cheaper on Amazon.
No, it would be masked. Yeah, so we could have like a QR code you scan on your phone. Walmart doesn't really know. It could be on Amazon. It could also be in Walmart. They don't know whether we mask that. It's something that could be masked. It's not something that we capture on the packaging in Walmart. Yeah. Does that make sense? Yeah.
And I think we're always open to changing some of the promotional strategy. For our most important aspect of things is that we're leveraging the brand equity of Yogurt Crisp online to increase the brand equity for Lemon Lemon.
Okay. So you mentioned the personalized messages and how millennials expect personalized messages.
Yeah.
Did you have any ideas on how you would personalize the messages?
Well, depending on, we'll take data from, where they've gone shopping, what they've been doing. So for example, for myself, I get samples all the time, and it's not out of the blue. I know why they sent that sample to me. So people usually bundle things. So I bought a heater recently, and someone gave me like socks. They were nice socks. So I'm hoping that we would work with, it's further bundling, right? So we give the samples to someone who was interested in something that is related to Yogurt Crisps or Lemon. Yeah, so that's the idea.
How did the $9 or the $8 bundle price compare to other bundles, the snacking universe?
So one of the things that we looked at was the price of like some of the competitors. So Annie Snacks, the average price point was around $5 for their snacks. So we feel that even though we increased the price, it was still lower than that. So we're still remaining competitive without really making any drastic changes. So with that increase, we felt that we could be able to drop the price just to be able to be competitive in the $8 bundle.
Did you see any bundles like online, like similar beverages and snacks out there?
Well, adding on to that, there were a lot of bundles with chewing gum and snacks, which I've been really thirsty. So I think the drink and the snacks, we would be the first to do that. There were not a lot of that on Amazon currently right now.
How did you think it looked like on the Imagine Snacks? You maintained your price point in the bundle, but then you gave a discount on Lemon Lemon. Did I understand that correct?
You can go back to any slide if you want to.
If you want to do that. So you gave a discount on the Lemon Lemon, but not necessarily on the Imagine Snacks. Is that correct?
That is correct.
So
yes.
how did you think about the lift that you expected then on the discount of the Lemon Lemon? Like how did you come up with the lifts going from 43,000 units? Like, how many more units did you think you would get for that 20% discount?
So what we did is we just looked at the growth rate. So the market size was 25 million households, and we did the growth rate of 5% because we, in the case I mentioned, 75 million households in 10 years. So we just calculated that growth rate, and then what we did is just we wanted to be able to just leverage the price increase in American snacks, but we felt like with the price increase, it would increase the demand of lemon. With the price decrease, it would increase the demand of lemon. And we just simply did a 3% increase on that.
Okay.
So we didn't want to be too aggressive because it's still a brand new brand, so we went from 2 to 5% increase for lemon with that reduction.
And that math works from a P&L perspective? Like if you get a 3% lift on that 20% discount, what would that do to your profits?
In terms of profit, do you recall before the discount? I know the end number was 300,000.
Did were we able to get the P&L?
Yes, it's in the appendix.
Okay. Let's go there.
Yeah.
Nice.
So, yeah, we looked at, let's see, is this the first one or the second one?
This is
This is the second one,
yeah.
So this is for the bundled. Yes, so I'm sorry, could you repeat the question?
So when you bundled, when you put the two together and you gave a 20% discount on the lemon, what did that do to your profits, considering the fact that you got a 3% lift on the lemon?
Do we have the second or the first? We have one for.
No, this is the only one we have.
Okay. So we did have a separate one. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
it didn't make it into the presentation. I believe so. When we calculated this with 2%, I believe it was around 300. So it was a pretty significant increase in year one. I don't know if you can see this from there. It's about 435.
Okay.
So it's. I can't remember where in 300 it was, or I give you a percentage off the top of my head. But it's a pretty significant increase with the increase in volume.
Got it. Good. Thank you.
Hey, I thought you all did a really good job on collaborating together. You're all very bright people, obviously, but I thought the respect you had for each other really came through, like Dave said. It was very effective. I was just curious, one thing you did particularly well was you must have had enough time, you did your analysis, and then you had said, if it doesn't work, this is what would happen. To anybody who'd like to answer it, do you have a thought on if your initial strategy didn't work, what was the secondary strategy? I know you had the write-off value, but what would you do if the first one didn't work? If you had more time, say. This is the things you bounced around that didn't make it to the page.
So if we had more time, or
yeah, if you had more time, you would have explored A, B, and C kind of things.
That's a good question. Probably we would have looked more at maybe discounting a little further and taking a little more hit on the initial profit and loss, but we didn't do so much of the calculations on that. This is kind of what we anticipated as the first plan. I think if we had more plans, we would have played around with the price point a little bit more, but I think this is what we were pretty comfortable with.
What do you think the number one risk of this business plan or this idea would be?
I think, like I said, luckily, I think it's pretty low risk. I think we all are kind of in agreement about that.
No, but
It's
I guess
rough-
not financial risk, but
Sure.
like, okay, what do you think would impact in terms of the ability to actually be successful versus maybe not be successful? What?
To reach the customers, is that?
And what's kind of in your mind a risk factor that can either make it or break it, kind of thing?
One of the risks that we consider is just kind of how our competitors are going to react. Are they going to offer a more competitive bundle? Are they going to react to the increase in price with the snacks? Because we want to make sure we felt that we could sustain our changes, but we should consider as well like how our competitors are going to react, and if they're going to offer a more competitive bundle that's going to trigger Pepsi to create some sort of change to our plan.
I think also, well, in terms of the risk as well, we also talked about, lemon and discounting lemon, what that would do for the brand. We talked through it, but Rachel, I remember you talking about how, it was losing anyway. So we had nothing to really lose. It wasn't losing, but you could do better. And this would really help boost its brand equity. So those are the two risks.
I think we can all agree that yogurt grapes were doing very well, and this was a proper way to leverage it to to basically make lemon cheaper when you buy both and take a little bit hit on that profit, but still improve their brand equity.
Yeah.
Very good. Nice job.
Thank you.
Morning.
Do you guys want to quickly introduce yourselves, and then we'll have them introduce themselves with their titles, and then I'll start the time, and I have the time cards. We'll go straight from your presentation into Q&A.
Absolutely. So I'm Shireen Sajati. Thank you guys for being here today. We've been hustling and bustling through, and we're excited to present for you.
I'm Russell Carden from Texas A&M. Oh, I'm sorry.
You didn't hear that?
Yeah, I didn't hear that. I apologize.
Sway the judges there.
I'm Gustavo Garcia. Thank you guys for being here.
And I'm Caldwell Moore.
Are you not supposed to say what school you're from?
Yeah.
Yeah, when she said title, I missed
It's a big secret.
I apologize.
I think it's on their resume.
It's on that resume. My name is Ralph Gooditz, Revenue Management.
Oh, yeah.
Great. My name's Rich Blazevich, Marketing.
Hi, Jim Hathaway, Planning.
The fellow on the chat finance.
Dave Boyce, Sales Strategy.
All right, you guys ready?
We'll go ahead.
Absolutely.
We'll find out.
So you posed a question for us. In first evaluating, I want to set the scene in the year 1960. A time when having a phone in your hand was something from the future. A time when having groceries at your doorstep was something from a sci-fi movie. Fast forward to the year 2017, and I pose for you a millennial mom. Running around, getting the kids ready to go for school, making it to yoga, getting a coffee in the afternoon, picking the kiddos up, having soccer practice, and forgetting that she was actually in charge of getting the snacks for that day's soccer practice. So in evaluating the Imagine Snacks and Lemon, we pose an idea of bundling for the millennial mom that has kids up today. So in doing so, we have the idea of different incremental sizes of both snacks that can be ready through Amazon with a few clicks. First, targeting events like the soccer game that I said, parties within the school, movie nights at home, and in gaining those customers first, converting them into repeat customers for your everyday household items.
Thank you, Shireen. So, in talking about these different strategies, it's good to frame it in the current situation that we're in. Number one, online grocery shopping is becoming much more the norm, especially with what Amazon is doing with their Whole Foods. It's just going to become more and more common. So PepsiCo needs to put itself in a position to take advantage of that event that's going on in today's world. Also, our customers are expecting a lot more customization. They not only do they want what they need, they want what they prefer and combinations of what they prefer. And leading into that, customers expect to have an experience. And so what is the experience that PepsiCo wants to provide? And how can we use that experience to sell our product? The solution that comes out of that situation is really a basic packaging solution that we can then fill in with a lot of that experience. So basically, as Shireen was talking about with the events, we want to, that's where the bulk of our sales will come out of, and we'll target it by the number of people that customers are trying to accommodate for. And since we are going off of multiples of 8 already in the packaging, it translates really easy into multiples of 16, 24, and 32 packaging. In that packaging, that's basically around the boxes of lemon and the cans that come in lemon. And then there's a little bit decreased amount with the actual snacks because there's a lot more snack compared to the actual drink. As Shireen was saying, that translates into the everyday kind of on the go as the kid is running out the door, let's grab a snack and a drink. and they kind of feed into each other and help each other grow, on and on. As far as implementation goes, I'm going to hand that off to Gustavo.
And we have a two-stage implementation. First, we're going to target those events, that party, that soccer game, that baseball game. That's where we see the bulk of our sales. We're going to target that in two approaches. We're going to do AMS for the search category, for the category search. And at the same time, we're going to do the bin sampling. And the bin sampling is key because we need to partner with special events, leverage any relationships that we currently have with, let's say, Little Leagues. How can we deliver some of those samples to the Little League, start creating that buzz, that word of mouth, make sure that we add literature as to how they can come online at discounts so that they come back. In addition to that, partnering with Amazon, let's see if we can get data on when is the birthday party. Can we send a sample to that house if the birthday party is coming up? So let's research what are the patterns of purchase for each of the households, especially with Amazon Prime that we have so much data on. Second, and then this is going to start on from 1 through 4. And we have more data as to how we're going to allocate later on the appendix, allocate the budget for the research. Second, we're going to target the everyday. What do we mean by everyday? By everyday, I mean, I'm hungry, I open the pantry, stick my hand in there, and I get a snack. Make sure that we do sampling specifically for that household. Who are we going to target? We're going to target that middle class family that has that makes between $50,000, $100,000, and $120,000 a year, that has kids between 5 and 13 years old. And at the same time, we're going to target the AMS, but here on the grocery category, because we see more of this targeting to the grocery side of their search. And then we allocated, one of our most important things is we allocated money on the budget for following up. And by following up, we mean, how do we create that customer experience, not only when they're buying it, but after they buy it? Can we follow up? Can we send that thank you note? Can we learn from the customers to make sure that that next event, that next push marketing campaign that we use is better? And at the same time, we can translate that into other parts of PepsiCo. So, I mean, this is not risk-free, of course. Nothing is. There are multiple risks that we need to identify. Identifying the number of people that they're buying from. And this is where we have to work very close with Amazon. Make sure that that initial approach, that initial page that they see, clearly states, are you looking for a party event? Are you looking for 16, 24, 32 people? Or is it just for your house every day? And make sure that the bundles that we propose are at the right pricing point, and we can get to that later in the appendix. And here again, we go working with Amazon, make sure that we communicate the data flows freely, and communication it's fast. And competitors, we need to, how are competitors going to address? Are they going to lower the price? Are they going to do the same packaging that we do? How are we going to towards that? That would be ideal. And now to go into the benefits of it.
Thank you, Gustavo. So in the words of the famous philosopher Sean Combs, it's all about the Benjamins. Any marketing campaign would be incomplete if we didn't actually evaluate the net profit we expect to drive with our efforts. So what I'm showing you here, and I apologize for the size of the screen, are our forecasted sales, net margin, as well as the P&L we expect, the margins for each individual product for a carton of Imagine Snacks and a case of Lemon. So the way we arrived at these sales is, given our marketing efforts, the AMS, we took conservative estimates that we will convert about 1% of those reaches to customers into sales. And with the sampling, we expect about 2% conversion. That's going to allow us to drive what we estimated as about $240,000 in bundles sold. 240,000 bundles sold in the first year, at a 25.9% margin for yogurt crisps, and a 12.2% margin for our lemon cases. Now, we do expect some of these sales to be cannibalized from our brick and mortar sales. We took an estimate of about 35%, as you can see here, give us net sales of about $8 million in the first year, growing at a 4.5% growth rate over time. The industry of online grocery shopping is, currently at about, I think it was 24% this year, and it's expected to grow to 70% by 2027. So we just took a steady growth rate there. So ultimately, we expect this to drive a profit of about $3 million in the first year, growing to roughly $4.5 million in 10 years. We do expect to sell this bundle for a slight discount to the margins that we're showing you here. So we priced in discounts of 3% for our lower margin product and 6% for our higher margin product, which gives us an average discount of about 5%. So in summary, we do think by implementing a bundle and marketing strategy, we can drive incremental sales for Frito-Lay, especially with the industry moving the direction it is, where convenience and cost are king. Capitalizing on the Amazon marketplace is going to be very important.
We're gonna have to stop there and move into Q&A.
So thank you very much. Any questions?
I'm going to ask you a question. If you had 30 more seconds to tell us something, what would you have told us?
Where did I stop? Again, convenience and cost are key to the consumer moving forward, especially when you see Amazon and Walmart's offering lowest prices, 2-day free shipping straight to your door. It's going to be very important to tap into that potential, and that's why we believe this is the strategy to do so.
So very nice job telling a really comprehensive recommendation and set of ideas. My question around the financials, so that as you calculated the net revenue, what's the market share that you estimate you're going to be able to reach with this?
Yeah. So we did look a little bit at that math near the end of our allotted time. So it's a little quick and dirty, but what I noticed from the current Amazon sales is that, for example, like Imagine Snacks has only been retailing since September, it seems like, at least in the data we had. It looked like, again, these are rough numbers, but the estimation I looked at is about 1.4% of snack sales was being driven by PepsiCo in that space. And understanding that the goal is to get at least 2.5% of online snack sales on Amazon's platform, these numbers should boost us well above that mark. But again, I'd love to dive into that a little deeper at a later date.
I really liked your idea of those occasion-based package sizes that you're putting together there. Did you kind of think this through in terms of price points, like which one of those packages you wanted to sell for what price points? Did you think that through, or?
Sure, we did. So if we back up a little bit here, the suggested, not the retail price, but the price we sell to the wholesaler, which would be Amazon.
You came back up to you, the difference with it.
Oh, I was just backing up to. We were told that the cost per carton was going to be about $21, and the cost per case of lemon was $15. The point of a bundle and to incentivize people to buy in greater amounts or bulk is that you would have to provide a discount.
Yeah.
So, taking our 24 people bundle, for example, that was a case of lemon as well as 2 cartons of Imagine Snacks. And so the price that we put on that bundle was $53.92. Again, that's about a 5% discount off of the the per unit price that we would sell individually for the per carton price.
You showed 16 packs, 25 packs, and 32 packs. Is that?
It's for people actually. Like we're
Right.
trying to tie that. 24.
Oh, so you were targeting the people?
Yes,
Okay.
because that, yeah.
And so what kind of different sizes were you thinking to provide for those different occasions?
You can go to that there. So we have here.
There you go.
Yeah, so this should answer your question. So for 16 people, it's 2 packs. So each pack has 8 cans or 8 bags of snacks. So basically, it either goes to half of the snacks for the cans, or like in the case of the 24, 2/3, or 3/4. Yeah, there you go. And that's just because there is more weight to the snacks than there is to the actual cans, and so a lot of our time was spent trying to figure out how many snacks are people actually going to eat, or how many cans of lemon are people actually going to drink. And just as a quick note, while we were calculating these numbers, the 24 people seemed like the option that people would go with the most, and so we drove with that assumption. Also figuring, as Gustavo mentioned one time, that it would be balanced out kind of by the discounts given by the 32 or the 16 people.
And then the price point of, did you say $53 was for that 24?
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. All right, great. Thank you.
And you mentioned if we had another 30 seconds, if we had another 2 hours on the case, we would have, actually we thought about a long-term solution of packaging down and doing a 1 ounce and doing more of a Monday through Friday type of box for the school mom to just do it quicker. We just didn't have to get it done, but going back to their point.
Can you go to your summary slide?
This is our benefit slide. I would say that's our summary.
Okay.
Were you looking for something in particular?
I was just curious. I love your navigation bar. And
yeah.
We're just
so,
steal that from his
there you go. So,
I'm like, all right,
they were at the door taking our thumb drive, and to be completely honest, we deleted that slide. We didn't want to show it to you.
But your appendix makes a nice summary. So.
Thank you.
Good. Nicely done.
You guys mentioned sampling. Would you say Little League sampling? I'm just curious more what you're thinking. How would you get people to pay attention to this bundle of these brands through your sampling?
And that's what when I mentioned the having literature with the sampling itself, make sure that the person that are distributing the sample, not only just, hey, here's a pack of, our beautiful snack, but hey, here is how you can go to Amazon.com in order for you.
So you say live sampling and kids.
Yes, yeah, and here's a discount that you can take advantage of for your next game.
Even if we had also talked about mail sampling, and even if that were the case, we would have the data to target millennial families in that situation who would most probably be looking for events like this. And so that goes back to what we were talking about before of having targeted and customized and preferential products. That's what millennials and families are looking for. And we would just really want to cater to that as much as possible.
Yeah, and even taking that a step further, targeting Pinterest searches or Little League searches and catering exactly to that customer, and maybe having like a small sample available at their door in their mailbox, making them feel special, and taking the extra mile of searching, like, okay, this looks like a great product, that was awesome that they sent it to me. So really customizing the experience for the customer.
Can you go back to the slide that had the events every day and then follow up, the little triangle? And let's say you got data that said there were 10 times as many everyday occasions as there are events. Would that change your approach, or what's the logic of starting with a less frequent event occasion as opposed to starting with a more frequent everyday occasion?
Our logic for the everyday event is because we get to reach more people. It's not only when we reach an event, we're not only reaching one person that generated the event, but everybody that tries the snack, that they come back and buy it. So that's why we're launching the everyday event first, and then 2 months, 3 months after, we're coming with the everyday solution and the everyday pack, so they can take advantage of that.
And the other little part of that, if I can add on to what you're saying, is that with events, we really wanted to capitalize on that bulk. We figured that with events and having 24 or 32 people at your party or sports event, whatever, you would want to be buying in bulk. And so that's where a lot of those increased margins come in.
Right, and in addition to that as well, I'm sorry, is the convenience factor. So you can go on with a couple clicks, buy your entire bundle that you need for your birthday party. The kiddos love it, and then you go back to the store, you go back onto Amazon and order it later for the after-school snack at that point.
How much of your budget was allocated for follow-up?
Oh, it was about 15%, roughly 15-20%. It changed by month, and later months had a little more.
I thought in the slide said that you had already allocated 100% on the first two. You had 45 and 55% allocation of the budget. So I didn't know.
Oh, no. It's with because each one has its own budget. Like there's a follow-up for the events, and then there's follow-up for the everyday snacks.
So it's not shown here,
yeah.
But so for the events and for everyday, we did 55% and 45%. We didn't and we spread it out by month. We didn't allocate the total. I think it was 37,000 total for each month, and the difference I think here was 6,000. It's not shown here, but it was about 6,000, and then incremented down
And then
per
incremented
month.
down, yeah.
For the follow-up.
Yes.
For the follow-up, yes.
I thought that you guys had a very good, clear presentation, which was really helpful. A lot of mutual respect between you as a group too, which really came through. I appreciate that. I had a question. To go back to your point, if you had a few more hours, could you give me a couple of scenarios that you considered but didn't choose to present? That would be helpful.
Definitely the packaging of these, especially the snacks, because now they come in at 4.5 ounces. So how can we make it 1 ounce? One of the things we talked about was having an everyday box, type of Monday through Friday, that the mom can say, I don't have time, here it is in your book tag, take it to school. And they're not going to take 4.5 ounces.
You don't put that in the.
So you know, it's taking that smaller. That's one of the main things that we.
In addition to that, we considered maybe making the cans half the size to appeal more kid-friendly, so to speak, and then also maintaining the full size so that the parents can also kind of, after the kids are asleep, go and still indulge in the same snacks. So yeah, we definitely vetted out the idea of doing a half can with the 1 ounce as the kind of duo that you send your kid with to school.
One of the other things that we didn't really get to touch on here, but was the actual branding of the products themselves. So if you look at Lemon, right now, all the marketing, all the images, all of the text is geared towards kind of the young, single millennial crowd. You don't really see any kids currently. And right now, that's kind of a big shift to all of a sudden say, Lemon's actually for kids, and it's healthy for kids, and kids should take it to school and to their sporting events. And that was one thing I would be really interested in exploring more, is how are you going to message that? How are you going to get that experience that you're trying to achieve with Lemon and Imagine? Imagine kind of already has that messaging, but how do you help Lemon? How do you mold it to fit that kid-friendly vibe?
So those are good answers. So as a follow-up call, well, what kind of map did you look in your analytics that you were trying to optimize for with the example you presented? How did you enter into it?
Could you expand on that a little bit for me?
Certainly.
You're talking about relative to these ideas? Or?
Yes. So when they just gave a lot of good ideas
Yeah.
that you didn't put up as your
Sure.
initial example. So how did you settle in on the one that you presented to us? What metrics did you use to
Well, so the metrics that we're using was kind of given the current state of the product and the current state of the brand. How can we promote this new bundle to drive up sales, drive up market share on the Amazon marketplace? If you looked at just the sales we were projecting and the profits we were projecting, clearly there's a lot of wiggle room for additional marketing efforts. We could pay higher packaging fees to accommodate some of these different changes. So, unfortunately, we didn't have the time to dive into those different scenarios, but given the margins we calculated and the profits we expect to drive, certainly it could be an option in those scenarios.
How do these products in your bundle or your offer value offering compares to whoever you think is the key competitor?
I would say.
Just off the top of my head, I looked at a few competitors, and feel free to add in whatever you think. But it seems like it resembles a lot the Lunchables and Capri Sun combination. And honestly, I didn't have time to get too much into it. But I feel like Imagine and Lemon Lemon is positioned really well with the branding that's backing it to really kind of take that over. I mean, it's not really the same because Lunchables, it's like offering a lunch, and I don't think Imagine is really trying to do that. It's definitely a snack. But so compared to the competitors that you would be kind of encroaching on, I think it would do really well.
Yeah, and just to kind of sum that up, aside from the snack competitors from the Walmart, the Jet, the big picture as far as the experience, making sure it's convenient, making sure you're delivering on time, and making sure that you get that follow-up, that tracker, that it was a great experience and you got what you needed at the end of the day.
And healthy-wise, this product is more healthy oriented on the snacks. I mean, it's 120 calories for the snack, 70 calories for the drink itself. It's more heavy, like the anise, the calorie count.
We're gonna have to stop there. You guys are great. Do you guys want to introduce yourselves? Just your name, don't say your school. You can if you want, it's on your resume, they have your resume. And they'll introduce themselves and tell you their role, and then we'll start the time. And she'll have the time cards, and then we'll go straight from the presentation into Q&A.
Good afternoon. We are team number 4. I'm Vanessa, and really happy to be here. This is my teammate.
I'm Gayatri Kandikar.
I'm Robert Rhodes. Charlie Bondurant.
Ralph Goodrich, Revenue Management for PepsiCo.
Richard Blazevich, and I'm marketing for PepsiCo.
Jim Hathaway, planning for PepsiCo.
Ricardo Chad, Finance.
Dave Boiseving, Sales Strategy.
Okay,
Go for it.
Sorry.
We identified 4 specific trends for millennial family in the United States. There are 11.6 households with children in the United States, which is a really interesting market for PepsiCo. The 4 trends that we identified: consumers are looking for healthy options, consumers are looking for convenience on the go to buy products, consumers are using more online routes to buy this product. That is why Amazon, which is one of the main routes that you are giving in the business case, we recommend totally to use this. And our recommendation is not bundle the snack with the lemon, but create another different bundle that we are going to explain in the next slide. We identified the price target for both products. For the snack is $2.99, and for the lemon is $2.9 per 8 package. We calculate a market share estimation for the lemon is 12%, and for the snack is 33%.
So I'm going to walk us through the specific strategies for yogurt crisps. So Vanessa talked about our strategy around not recommending the bundling with lemon. Instead, because yogurt crisps is a newer product that not many consumers are familiar with yet, our recommendation is to actually bundle with an existing PepsiCo product that serves the same target market so that they can leverage the existing brand value of that. So we looked at 2 specific products they could bundle with, Naked as well as Kavita, because we identified that the millennial mom consumer, whilst shopping for groceries, would look to kind of add on an item, so bundle almost kids products with something that could serve her well. And we found that Naked and Kavita serve that specific segment very, very well. So in bundling with Naked, for example, this would position yogurt crisps as a regular, healthy, or rather in PepsiCo terms, the good for you product for consumption, and would help that brand gain recognition that way. One of the things we also thought about was a kind of long-term growth opportunity in this bundling. So currently, Yogurt Crisps is targeting children aged 6 to 12. However, if we look at the competitive landscape, RX Bar is a great example. It was just acquired by Kellogg. They positioned their brand as a high-protein bar for adults and just came out with a kids version. Yogurt Crisps could do the opposite, where it's currently targeting kids, but could position as a healthy snack for adults as well, and that way they're actually growing their potential market segment. So Yogurt Crisps' marketing strategy. We believe in leveraging Amazon marketing services, but we did notice that currently their categorization at Amazon is under the salty snacks category, and that specifically limits the customers or the consumers that they're able to target. So our recommendation is to go ahead and diversify that categorization and invest in specific search categories such as healthy snacks for kids, kid snacks, and organic snacks, so that they're able to expand the number of potential consumers that they reach. In addition to Amazon marketing services, given the millennial mom consumer, one of our recommendations is also to look at creatively repositioning themselves across social media marketing platforms. So leveraging online bloggers and Instagram personalities to promote products. And we did take into account the sampling and impressions associated with Amazon services, as well as how successful sampling via email and things like that was. And we suggest leveraging food bloggers and lifestyle bloggers to promote the products via sampling distribution. And then targeted in-person marketing was one of our strategies as well. So it's important to recognize, while we're moving towards this digital distribution, grocers like Whole Foods, for example, still exist. And one of the things they're conscious of is giving the consumers an in-person experience. And so leveraging those channels and sampling through things like Whole Foods and Core Power Yoga, again, which engage that millennial mom, would be a great way to specifically target that consumer.
So as to our strategy with Lemon Lemon, again, we didn't want to pair them together because these are two very low market share products, and they would benefit a lot more from the recognition of a currently popular product. So based on our data, it was over 155,000 units of Sun Chips sold in 2017 so far. We figured it would benefit a lot more from being bundled with Sun Chips. And the two of them share a lot in terms of the space that they occupy in consumers' minds and the marketplace. So the target segment is millennials, health-conscious Gen X consumers looking for healthier, premium alternatives to traditional sodas and fun-for-you snacks. So Sun Chips are a healthy alternative to traditional potato chips. Lemon Lemon is a healthier alternative to traditional sodas. So we think they pair well together for that reason. And based on new product market penetration strategy with Lemon Lemon, we want to hitch it to a big star like Sun Chips. And as far as the consumption setting, envision kind of treat yourself snack consumed once in a while at social gatherings, so parties, game rooms, picnics. And as far as this bundling benefits, I want to emphasize again, bundle with complementary products, they're savory snacks, and fits well with consumption in social settings.
So our marketing strategy for Lemon Lemon is going to be probably similar to what you just heard about for the Yogurt Crisps. Essentially, it's the same idea, Amazon Marketing Services. We will identify and get the right keyword searches there. In this case, we've got sparkling water, low sugar drinks to emphasize that low sugar aspect of it, and a mixer because we thought, hey, this might be a fun drink to mix with alcohol. And that's a millennial thing, they like that. They like cocktails, it's huge right now. Mixology is big. Second, social media marketing. Lifestyle bloggers, micro-influencers, all of that, Instagram, Snapchat, that's huge right now. Millennials don't watch TV, I don't watch TV anymore. We want to leverage that for Lemon Lemon. Finally, and similarly, the in-person marketing. You've got to show up to events. We had the launch initially earlier this year for Lemon Lemon. We had 3 picnics in New York and Paris, and I believe it was maybe Tokyo, the third city. But we want to show up to millennial events, so EDM festivals, the picnic, the Rosé Festival in New York, the Wanderlust Festival, as you heard, happy hours at bars, college tailgates, that's huge data. And finally, Snapchat, photos, social media, that's so key for millennials, the target audience of this.
So again, I want to emphasize the value of not bundling them together, pairing them to products that have the integrity of healthy alternatives and have some more traction in the online marketplace, pitch them to rising stars to get some recognition and space in the marketplace and grow that market share. What questions do you have?
I just want to go back to your bundle pricing. I think you hit it up front. It's like, well, I think you showed it. So you're saying, are you looking to bundle these with other products, or these are individual? Okay.
With other products.
Did you talk through like what would be? I think you talked Imagine and Naked together. What would be like a bundled price on that, or what's the discount to buying both together?
So we actually have the bundled price. We didn't have the pricing information for Naked, so the bundled price you'll see here is just the discount you'll get on this specific product if you bundle it with Naked, for example. So if you bought yogurt crisps individually, it would be $2.99 for one bag. Assuming we bundled 2 bags as like a sample of each flavor with Naked, it would be $4.99 for the 2-bag sample. But to answer your specific question, we didn't factor in the Naked juice price because we didn't have that data.
To get into the profitability of running like a lemon at $1.99?
So that was to compete with how it's selling in retail space. It's a new product. We calculated that at the current price, retail price of $3.50, and retailers wanting a 20% margin, that it's currently losing money as is. So we're going along with that market penetration strategy and trying to gain a foothold.
So you sure that's a lost product? Now that there's negative profit on your $1.99?
We calculated there currently is at current price points, so we thought that was the strategy, and we're going to continue with it.
Do you have that like backup sheet that shows kind of?
Not in the slides. I have it elsewhere, yeah.
Okay.
So actually, we did see that they were running it at a negative. One of the conversations we had actually was around whether we should even continue to run lemon as a product or discontinue it, because we did notice that Pepsi has existing products that fall in the same portfolio. So Izzy, for example, and then Dasani Sparkling. So I think one of the longer term plays, if it's not in the short term, if you want to run it at operating loss just to penetrate the market, we thought that that was actually the goal, and that's why we were getting the negative numbers. But in the long term, one of the considerations might be, are your other existing products actually more profitable, and introducing this lower price point product, would that cannibalize a more profitable product like an Izzy? And then do you want to consider discontinuing this altogether? We did have that conversation, but we put together.
So you had some math that shows we're running things below cost on lemon.
We did.
Yes, we did.
How do you mentioned 32% market share. How do you come up with that?
Based on, we received a spreadsheet with the numbers about the other competitors for beverage and snacks, what was the unit sales and the total sales through Amazon platform. So based on those numbers, we took the total as the industry. And then we suppose that our sales for the snacks and for lemon, it would be the higher number of sales for the competitors in that spreadsheet. That we assume.
Do you believe that these products can obtain a 32% share? Or
yeah, we suppose that we are going to achieve the same
third of the market.
Based on the same number of the unit that competitors are selling.
What competitive set did you look at? What kind of were the price points that you saw of those competitors that they were offering? And how did that influence your price bundling recommendation that you have here?
Yeah, for the yogurt crisp we use anise. For the lemon we use San Pellegrino as the two main competitors. And the price, we established our price discounting the retail price that you provide in the case. We got that price, and we identified the total sales unit for our products and the total sales unit per industry.
So do you feel like, based on your recommendation, that was the right competitive set that you were looking at, or did you maybe think about other products that you would be competing with?
I mean, based on the characteristic of the products, we thought that it was a competitor who has a similar kind of product with us. I mean, with PepsiCo.
So we do recognize there's a kind of a gap in a lot of assumptions in the analysis we ran, because when we ran pivots on the raw data that we had, the categorization varied. And so, for example, in the case we read that Cliff Z-Bar and then Annie's products and Horizon Organic are the main competitors. But actually, if you look at the market, so Bear was another potential competitor, which if you filter by the categories in that spreadsheet, they actually won't come up under the same category. So we recognize that in that regard, there are definitely some gaps in our analysis, and we'd have to look more deeply at the numbers and the competitive landscapes. And I think it also, we didn't factor in smaller competitors. We looked at so Annie's had 90% market share. If you look at Annie's Organic and just Annie's combined, and so we recognize that there are just some gaps there.
Just out of curiosity, if you decided to run lower pricing to start, what kind of challenges could that cause for you after the initial launch?
If people get used to a certain price point, then it would be difficult to raise it. But there's still some room to improve and get it close to kind of, for example, a Sandville Green and Lemon, and be profitable once you're be at parity with them.
Another cost that we can consider is the cost of putting the both products together, because now you distribute to Amazon separately the products, so we need to consider packaging costs to create the bundle.
And I think another challenge with starting off low, while it is a great penetration strategy, we talked about how it could cannibalize your existing products. So, for example, Izzy is sold at a higher price point than that. Dasani Sparkling, I believe, as well. So even if you get traction on the specific product, you're now running at a loss. Consumers are expecting that price, and you're potentially cannibalizing an existing product that might have higher margins.
I thought you all gave good answers on why not to do it, and that's why we usually don't do it. Yeah, just as a teaching point, just to know that once you set a price in the marketplace, it's very hard to bring consumers off it. And anytime, as just an aside, you talk about below the net pricing, that's a whole level of understanding and rationale that you've got to consider. So for all the good reasons you gave on not to do it, that's why most people don't do it. It's just hard to get off that pricing once you get started.
So staying in that same round, what do you think the CFO would have told you based on the recommendation to sell something for a loss?
Maybe he's not going to give us the $200,000 to spend in marketing, but I mean, we need to explain him that it won't be for a long term. I mean, sometimes you need to lose something to have something bigger. So we are going to explain that it's a short term, and maybe we could have a projection for 6 months. And if the things doesn't change, I mean, we need to correct and change the strategy.
I think oftentimes there's a certain period, you can do the payback period calculation and say after operating at a loss for a year, if it's going to continue to, or operating at zero profits, then you just pull out of the market after a year and choose to discontinue that product. And actually in our conversations, we did talk about discontinuing Lemon, just given the current landscape. So I think the CFO would give a specific timeline on like a maybe 1 year and then pull out if there is no increase.
Another thing we discussed was make sure it's clear that it's a promotional price. I think that helps get over that psychological hitch of, I thought this cost this much. Make it clear that it's a promotional price so they get the idea that it's temporary.
So you had a lot of good marketing tactics there. If you were going to prioritize one or two things and say, okay, these are the one or two that we think will have the biggest impact and would be the most effective and the most efficient, do you have a point of view on what are the one or two things you do?
When you look at CPMs, like a bit, obviously, like from what we did on calculations, looks like the sampling and the email higher, and if we go with the generalization, that the higher CPMs, the higher conversion rate. There's that. I think obviously the return from the Amazon key terms is going to be very important. So I think it was a mixture between that. I don't know if we really have like a consensus per se.
Not
yeah.
We did find that sampling had higher CPM.
Yeah, sampling definitely had higher CPM though.
And so in terms of just because both of these are product introductions, and we did talk about leveraging existing like social media and Instagram personalities, we would say focus on that, especially because bundling through Amazon, I believe, limits your categorization to one category. So you're limited on how many keywords you can diversify into anyway. So to answer more specifically, short-term sampling focus and then long-term keyword searching through Amazon.
Yeah, I personally like sampling better in the front because there's no expectation that that's a price that'll continue.
Yeah.
It helps you see it in the marketplace. So Charles, I thought you had an interesting point about combining with Sun Chips. How did you decide on Sun Chips, and what do you think the Sun Chips brand manager would say about partnering with them?
So we looked at the performance of different Pepsi snacks in the data set that we were given, and that seemed to be the biggest star to hitch it to. The brand manager would have some concerns, I think, about, is Lemon Lemon a product that's going to contribute to or detract from the integrity of Sun Chips?
What do you think?
Personally, I like it. I think it's a good match. I'd like to see some more consumer feedback to mesh with that. And I don't think that if somebody's loyal to Sun Chips to the point that they're going online and buying them in bulk, one experience with a brand that's presented as complimentary is necessarily going to tank that for them.
What do you think the organic crisp person would say? Well, I thought we were supposed to partner together, Lemon Lemon and Organic Crisp, and the Organic Crisp person says, one second, we're partnering with Sun Chips. What about me?
So we're both looking for growth, and you're better off partnering with somebody like Naked, somebody like Kavia, who's already got that presence.
That's good. So you give them an alternative to do the same thing.
Right.
So you're saying, I'm not sure the Lemon Lemon Organic Crisps is the best combination.
Right.
You might be better off partnering them with established brands both ways.
Right, with new products, if we're trying to penetrate the market and gain market share, we don't want them paired together. We want to benefit from people looking for Sun Chips, and then they find out about Lemon Lemon. People looking for Naked, and they find out about Yogurt Crisps. But both have currently such small market share that we don't believe that they would benefit as much from being bundled
So
together.
to be precise, you're rejecting the premise that was given to you. You're saying I wouldn't pair these two together.
Yes.
I would actually go the other way.
Yes.
Okay, good, thanks.
How much do you think this proposition can grow on average every year in the next 5 years?
So we kept our projection pretty short term.
What's short term?
We looked at about 6 months, I think.
I think they said they want to discontinue Lemon Lemon, so it was very short term.
So based on research we didn't look at Lemon Lemon short term discontinuing, but for Yogurt Crisps we looked at the year-over-year growth opportunities based on healthy snacking for kids specifically, and I think we found a 5.1% year-over-year growth rate based on market average is the data we found. It's not based on numbers that we ran.
What was the year one revenue for each of these opportunities?
The year one revenue based on the market penetration strategy, this price point, which again with Lemon Lemon was very much based on, okay, what's going on with brick and mortar retailers, was negative.
Revenue was that?
So for this particular project, yes.
So the customers were paying you, or we were paying them?
Essentially based on our figures.
We did per.
You mean profit?
Correct.
Was that a revenue?
Revenue was assuming a certain number of impressions. I think it was 500,000 through the sampling, and it was a 3% conversion rate, and we kind of played around with the numbers to see how it affected. I think the revenue was 140,000.
For which one?
For Lemon Lemon. And then above 200,000 for Yogurt Crisps.
And that's a 32 share.
Correct.
We have time for one more question. Let's say you found out that the Naked Juice had to be refrigerated and Yogurt Crisps didn't, and so it wasn't feasible to sample them together. Did you consider anything other than the Naked Press that would be a good option for the Yogurt Crisps?
We looked at Kavita,
Okay.
which does not have to be refrigerated. Correct?
Correct.
Yeah. So we looked at some data from an independent source, I couldn't find a breakdown as far as what was on Amazon, but the sales in 2015 and 2016 for Naked were both hovering right around 40-50 million, and it was closer to 6 and 7 for Kavita in the same period. So with that hitch it to a brighter star strategy, Naked was the more popular
Your
option.
time is up.
Okay, okay. John?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So I'm Austin. This is Kelsey. This is Kate. And this is Andrew. And we are Team High Five. So do you want us to go into roles before we dive right into the presentation, or should we?
Yeah, let's have them introduce themselves and then we'll start with the presentation.
I feel like I should be high-fiving you all now.
Get going. Get going. Hey, you get one too. It's good. It's good. We'll keep it alive.
All right.
So, your role, intro.
Oh, so that's Ralph.
I get it. I'm catching up.
I'm in revenue management.
Okay, Rich Blazevich, marketing.
Hi, Jim, planning.
Ricardo in finance.
Dave Boisevin, sales strategy.
Hi, no.
Oh, okay, right here.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Start the clock.
you got our intro, yeah, and start it. Before we jump in, though, I want you to imagine something with me. So it's Monday morning. You're getting your kids ready for school. You've checked your watch twice in the last minute. You're not late, but you know you're close, right? You know that feeling. You've just packed your lunch for your kids. You want them to have something healthy. You've went in the fridge, grabbed a little treat for yourself, sparkling lemonade. You realize you're running low on supplies, both things. There is no time this week to go out shopping. Your schedule's packed. What are you gonna do, right? Well, well, more and more people are turning to online e-commerce to kind of solve that problem. As you can see, the growth over the last few years, projected by 2027, there's going to be over 60% of people doing their e-commerce online, or doing their shopping online. And we'd like to capitalize on that. So our goal today, we set out to figure out if we should be bundling some products, some PepsiCo products on Amazon. And what we determined was by combining Imagine and Lemon, we can really provide a great resource to our customers and really ultimately grow our sales. So I'd like to hand it over to Kelsey to talk about that just a little bit.
Thank you, Austin. So as we all know, Pepsi strive really hard to create value for shareholders. And with that in mind, whenever we try to pick a project over the other one, we compare the NPV. And after our financial calculation, which is attached in the appendix, what we've noticed is not only by bundling up, we're able to provide 5% discount for our valued customers, and we're able to provide convenience for those amazing millennial families, but also we're able to almost double the net profit in this case. So with that, I'd like to turn it to Kate for our marketing strategy.
So our target consumer for this campaign is millennial moms. She's busy, she's on the go, and she's very comfortable with e-commerce. She has kids between the ages of 6 and 12, and she wants to make sure they eat healthy. So with this bundle subscription service, we want mom to imagine more time with her family, imagine the adventure her kids could have, imagine the relaxation of refreshment to sit with her lemon, and to imagine all the different possibilities of that subscription service. And we know that mom is the ultimate, as the consumer, she's buying the product, but the kids are the influencers. So how do we get kids to beg mom to buy this product? So I think we all know a 10-year-old kid who is addicted to Minecraft right now. And so our proposition is to include a promo code for Minecraft on each package of Imagine Snacks. So the kids can unlock in-game benefits when they get these and they're begging mom, I just want to get to the next level. My guy needs healthy snacks like I need healthy snacks. And mom also gets the benefit of more me time while they're playing their games and to relax with her lemon. For our marketing budget, we wanted to capitalize on the most impressions, and so the AMG displays were about 500,000 impressions per $1,000, so we wanted to do that, and a premium on months where the kids are getting out of school, they're getting ready for summer, and also back to school, and mom's thinking about buying more snacks. And we also talked about targeted sampling to get those consumers to buy the product. We all know we've gotten that Sephora box where you kind of get something that you weren't
going to purchase otherwise and you end up loving it and purchase it more. So with that, I'll hand it off to Andrew to talk about risk.
Thank you. So when you have a project of this type of scope, there are going to be some risks involved, and you're going to want to know what those are before you decide to jump right in. Obviously, if this is successful, you're going to have some competitors trying to mimic what you're doing, especially on the consumer packaged goods. They're going to be going online. They're going to start bundling what you're selling or something that's similar that they can copy. To that, and then to the second most likely risk that you're going to face is that the bundling just isn't popular. The two products that we're putting together, for whatever reason, the kids, the mom, it's not syncing up. It's not a good fit. And to both of those, we would say that you need to expand the bundled package. So we would say that to use the breadth of what PepsiCo and Frito-Lay have to offer, and start doing a specialized subscription service where instead of you having one bundle coming to the household, you could have it where on a fixed number of days or on a fixed schedule, you could have different juices, you could have different snacks to really capture what your advantage is. Less likely risk you would be looking at would be that the marketing is ineffective. And to that we would say, unfortunately, the game strategy would be a sunk fixed cost. But because most of the advertising dollars would be going towards the banner strategy, through Amazon, you'd be able to transition that into other products and not lose out on the purchase. And lastly is if the distributor channels that you're using decide to target this strategy as well. So if you're facing Amazon or Walmart's online services and they have a similar strategy where they're going to be saying, instead of using all PepsiCo, Frito-Lay, we're going to use an optimized strategy where you're saying this is the most popular drink across the whole spectrum. This is the most popular snack. These 5 things get sold the most together. We already have all of them. We're going to sell them instead of you guys. And to that, we would say that the goal would be to get the PepsiCo and Frito-Lay products to be within that package of the optimized bundle, or to use the transportation network that's already in place and go directly to the consumer. From there, we have a timeline. So within the next 2 months, based on end of 2017, we would look to unroll the marketing strategy, build awareness, and to lay out the subscription service. Within the first half of 2018, we're going to be looking to have retail partnerships. So beyond the online sales and subscription, we would like to see bulk sales to schools, to camps, so that there's a more streamlined throughout the year. And then lastly, we would look to, regardless of the risk, to broaden the offering. So once market share has been established with Lemon Lemon and with the Imagine Snacks, we would look to expand that service so that you're having multiple drinks, multiple snacks, bringing that into the second year. And now Austin is going to take us home with our family.
So, we've really combined our low margin product, we combined it with our higher margin product. We not only increase sales for PepsiCo itself, but we also really help out this mom who is just trying to get her kids to school with healthy snacks and take a treat herself. So luckily, she was able to click with one button, order both the snacks and the refreshment. Wednesday, because she had the 2-day prime, she had it, and Thursday, everything was back to normal, and everyone was out the door with what they needed. And job well done. So with that, we'd like to open it up to any questions, comments, more high fives.
Nice job. Good job. I'm going to start with a question. Great job. Love the energy. Love the teamwork. I love the Minecraft idea. How would you communicate that the codes were in with the bundle? So how would you let consumers know?
I think on the packaging, just even having those characters on there so the kids would see it when they got it, and knowing those promo codes, and having it part of the impression advertisements, so they could see that that was an added benefit.
Okay.
There's kind of a distinguished, if everyone knows the game, it's that very pixelated one where it's like just big blocks. And even just doing product promotion where it's like, okay, some of the logo goes pixelated for a time being to like really hit that in the beginning. So if we're already going to be reprinting on it, we can also mimic a logo and kind of show, raise interest that way too.
And then do you have any point of view on how much of your marketing budget you'd spend on that promotion?
Yes, so for that one, we said that within the first 2-month period where we're getting up to speed, we're going to have the game development take $50,000 of the budget. and then we're going to do a per package. So we base that on the number of impressions that we would get through the sampling and the increased number of packages that we expected to sell by bundling. Those two numbers together, we divided that by our remaining budget, and we came to 7 cents per package to add on that code.
Go into the appendix and walk us through your pricing strategy and your how you develop the pricing and then the economics of these proposals.
Thank you very much. I think that's a great question. So, first off, there's a really great, amazing chart, Excel sheet. It's a really large one that we received, and it's been really helpful. So basically, that was all the transaction for all the food, beverages, and snacks. And we tried to find some product that's similar. So we basically break down into two categories. One is snacks portion, and one is beverage portion. And we tried to pick the snacks that's relevant to our similar products like the breakfast granola bars and similar nutritious products that's dry and that's very conveniently can be portable. And for the beverage side, we tried to take, so basically these are the numbers.
Oh, sorry.
I'm sorry.
Messed it up, man.
Okay, so this is the percentage share. This is basically the food crackers market. And we took this number as a total, and then we took a percentage of this market entry into this e-commerce market, and I believe we took 4% in the beginning. And similarly for the beverage side.
Oh, you can back up it.
Okay.
So is this a future state?
This is year 2018, the new launch year.
So we're saying we're going to be bigger than that as in first year. Is that what that says? The other one, I think the first job.
The first one?
Yeah.
This one?
Yeah.
So this is the total for year 2017, and we said if we're trying to enter, we're going to take 4% of the market. Oh, actually, we're going to take 5% of market, but because of the cannibalization we have for the retail stores, because people when they have the convenience to buy stuff online, and they're less likely to buy on the store. So after taking out the cannibalization percentage, and that's the volume that we basically use to calculate on the next slide. Yeah, it's right here. So e-commerce only, we have 4% of the total number, which is right here. And then for the beverage, we assume that the market share after entry, like this is a lump sum from the Excel sheet we have for the sales. And then we say if it's e-commerce only, we hit 4%. And with bundling them up, and we gain, we're going to hit 8%, and with still 1% of cannibalization for the snack portion. And then we have 2% cannibalization for the beverage portion, because beverage is kind of easier when you're at the grocery store to buy. And then in total bundle, you hit 10%, 6%, I think. Thank you.
So those initial numbers, is that what you were getting at? Like,
Was that something that was given to you, or you?
Yeah. So from the all online sales for the year, we pivoted out just sparkling and seltzer water from Amazon sales, and we were able to sum that up to get the one value. And then for the snacks, there was all sorts of extra snacks like salty this and salty that, and not good for you snacks. So we really focused on what would be in our industry, kind of like what a mom would pick that's healthy for their kids. And that was in the light snacks, the fruit snacks, and the snacks bars. And so that's the numbers that we started. So the 27 and the 132 were the numbers we started with here for the snacks and then the beverage.
Thank you.
I was curious. I thought that was a very well-constructed presentation. You saw the group liked it too. I think the slides were very well-crafted, very clear to understand, that kind of thing. I'm curious as to how you decided to break up the responsibilities on your team. And I have a follow-up question, which is tell me how you did that.
I mean, primarily, I think just our strengths. We talked about that last night, going into the case before we knew what it was, but what our backgrounds were, what we were majoring in, what our previous work experience was. We had an idea going into today what everyone's kind of strengths were and what we could individually break up and work on, and so we divided it that way.
Yeah, and I think that's really good. You can tell because when you get strong personalities together that don't know each other very well, sometimes you see people talking over each other and you didn't do that. So you're all very bright people who still found a way to collaborate, but within your lane of strengths, which I thought was really good. So in light of that, how would you take this experience and then apply it to kind of a real world situation with where you would go, wherever you would choose to work?
That's an excellent question. I think it's going to be very similar to our future work, which is very cross-functional, and there's going to be a lot of collaboration. There's people who are good at finance, like their finance directors, like some of you guys are, and crunching all the numbers and make sure the NPV positive project and all the risk and cannibalization has been taken into consideration. And also some marketing people, like they can have enough budget to do all the different budgeting for different strategies and marketing campaign, and make sure we understand the 4 Ps and what's our enduring value, strength, and yeah. So basically, that's what we talked over last night, and we had a really nice chat during dinner session.
It was actually the dinner that was like amazing.
Yeah.
You know, I came in thinking like I might be a quant guy. She can blow me out of the water with quant. So it's like, you know, you just have to kind of sit there and we played around like, oh, how do you know each other? Like, he's got the sales and, you know, she can put together a PowerPoint like none other. And when we figure out, we just kind of talk it out, what have we done? And it's I think the pre-dinner was huge for us. Like,
Yeah, I think it added to it that we were all from different schools and we haven't had like necessarily the same classes and lessons, and everyone had something different they could bring to it, which is so important on a team. And I think we learned a lot from that too.
Yeah.
I've got a question specific to your creative idea of bundling. So is the thought that you would have apply an incremental 5% discount when you buy these 2 together? And walk me through the details of that, because I thought that was interesting. It's like a creative way you were going to do your bundling.
That's a great question. I'm sorry I'm answering so much questions from here. So basically, that's a great question. So after we got from the chart, so basically this is the chart we put together. And we noticed that for the lemon drinks, because of all the distribution costs and COGS, especially for the shipping and I believe freight, that makes their margin really low, so they're kind of a lower margin product. So I kind of reduced the number just from, because our snacks actually is a higher margin product, and we're trying to just reduce the price from 3.49 to 3.3 in the bundled price. Of course, when you bundle it, you only see like the price reduced from $8.9 to $8.3, so you only see that much. But actually in my calculation, I only calculated the reduction of the price from the bundled snacks portion because it's kind of more juicy over there, and the lemon is already a very lean product.
So that the idea would be is you buy them individually at the normal price. How do you communicate? I'm a big Amazon shopper, so I'm thinking this one through. I thought you normally you have a fixed price, right? So is it, you're tying these 2 items together in some way that consumers would recognize, hey, when I buy these 2, I'm going to get an incremental 5 across the bundle?
Yeah, so we could show that yes, you are getting that reduction in price. It would be the $8.30 then. So you're saving we're taking the margin out basically from the snacks, but then yeah, it's just one click.
How do you do that?
So
in the world of Amazon, like I search a beverage or something.
I had no idea either, so I searched it.
Actually,
and
I had similar experience in the beauty product. I'm sorry, I'm sure I would do the exact same thing after this product has been launched in Amazon. Yeah. So basically, there's a coupon. You just click the coupon. It automatically detects that you put these one product on the chart, and then tells you when the other product is put in the chart, there will be a coupon applied. And there's also a third-party website. It's called dealmoon.com that I search all kinds of different deals, and it's for free if you put it out there. And I just click it through, and then there's like, oh, this is a coupon applied. There's a coupon code, so I just apply it over there, and it works magically.
The other thing is it can be like a product itself, so the picture would be both. And the added bonus there is that it'll show up under both search engines. So if you search for snacks, this will show up, the snacks will show up and the bundled product snacks will show up. If you search drinks, the drinks show up and the bundled products show up. So it'll be one product, but Amazon handles it. They actually have a piece for how to handle that.
And who's the Minecraft player?
We all just, I think, have nieces and nephews and cousins.
My kids that play a lot, so I was just curious who's playing it.
Just relatives.
Did you have your follow-up question after the team question?
Yeah, it was wanted to see kind of go through that. It was interesting that how you applied that thought process came across very strong. And I was just curious as to why some people are effectively able to do that and others don't as we come to the process. Because when you see a group like this, I was curious as to what you had. And how did you feel comfortable with, like, once you made your decisions, that you were going to run the day? Because your pre-planning is evident. So did you discuss with your presentation the order that you're going to go, and who had what section, and then was there a debate about that, or did it just kind of go?
It wasn't a debate. We decided last night, actually, based on who the best person for finance and the best person for marketing, that they were going to be in charge of the middle section with the meat of the presentation, and then it came down to the two of us. Depending on the case, who had a better story or lead-in was going to go first, and the other person was going to go last, and that was pretty much all the way through.
So why did it stick though? Because it stuck, like everybody kind of gives some of the answers, but it stuck with you. You guys kept to your plan. Why do you think that was?
I think the timeline plays a part. When you have, 5 hours, you finish reading the case and you ask a couple questions.
Everybody had the same timeline though, but you did it more effectively. So there was something that you did differently.
I think we also just really realized that we had the same goal. Like no one here was looking to be a superstar. Like we were Team 5 and we wanted to work together. And so to each have your own part and to make sure we were helping each other was really important. And so we just worked together really well, and we went into it knowing like this is our end goal.
That's a really great point. I actually just wanted to add a little bit about what Andrew has done, which is a kind of a secret that we did. So we basically had the timeline, and we make sure like before each timeline, half an hour, like Andrew's basically our timer. So it's like, okay, everyone, getting our thoughts together now. Like we should be on this page. If not, we're probably going to be a little late. So I think that was really helpful.
Yeah, see, I thought we'd eventually get to that. It was clear that you had structure in your workday, even though it was a shortened workday. So I'm glad you said that, because there's clearly some structure you had before you got here to this point, that this morning, that the way you broke that time up was critical, because you clearly spent your time in the right place. So thanks.
Time checks for sure.
I wish you could see the energy we had in the room upstairs.
Oh, we got it.
Like we had the biggest room of all, and we were all over the whole room. And it's I think that really it just fosters a free. I can say a bad idea, and I'm not worried about it because we're all in this together. So I think that was probably
your ways of working were very effective, though. Thanks a lot.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Awesome.
You have 2 minutes left.
I was just curious, I think you mentioned as you were going through the risk analysis, something around transportation and leveraging current transportation to go direct to consumer. I wanted just to ask if you could elaborate on that idea.
So if the distribution channels that we're targeting, if going through the e-commerce, if they start doing their own bundling and we have to do something else, in some of the information that we had going in, you can tell that there's a lot of the electric vehicles going into it. There could be, you already have the framework to get to stores all over the country, and if you were going to have to deviate from that in order to compete, maybe smaller vehicles, but then using that same network and just going direct to homes. And that was based
Not a
mostly,
competitive advantage or differentiated.
yeah, and that was based mostly on the subscription model, where if you knew in advance, you'd be able to manage the supply chain a little bit better, and you'd know how many vehicles you would need and where the different items were going to be going, so that it wouldn't be as costly to
It's
compete.
like kind of like the Walmart thing where employees on the way home can drop a package.
Yeah.
Based on the routes. Right? I don't know if they're doing that. I read that was kind of an idea as well. Interesting. Thank you.
Okay, we've got 45 seconds left. Let's say Minecraft comes back and says, hey, we'd love to partner with you. We'll only charge you $1 million to use our Minecraft logo.
Could happen.
Which could happen.
Right.
Do you have a fallback plan?
Our original idea was to create our own game where kids could kind of go on adventures and do all of that, but with the limited information we had, we didn't know that much about pricing strategies, and that would have taken a little longer. But that was something else that we talked about, was creating our own game where, the tagline for the product is, kids can do anything, so why can't their snack? So having our own kind of app built around that, where kids are in a world where they can do anything and unlock different levels of adventures as they go.
Okay, good.
The line, the high fives. You're gonna seal the deal here with this, okay?
Thank you so much. Thank you.
So good. Okay, we'll just have the this and that one.
Rich.
Rich, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Hi, good to see you.
Nice to meet you.
Hi, Rich. How are you, Patrick?
Nice to see you.
Good to see you.
Good to see you guys. Rich.
Hi, good to see you.
Thank you.
We can talk more.
Okay, we'll have them just go down their line. I know you just met them, but they're gonna say them and their name and their roles, and then we'll get started with the time, and we'll flow right from this into question and answer and choose the time card.
Yeah, you'll see a 5-minute and a 1-minute card, and then I'll stop you.
Ralph Goodouts, revenue management.
Okay. Rich Blazevich, marketing.
Hi, Jim Hathaway, planning.
Ricardo Arranjá, finance.
Dave Boisevin, sales strategy.
That's it?
Yeah.
All right, cool. That's it. You want to start?
All right. Hi, my name is Oni. I'm here with the team, and I'll just have them briefly say their names.
I'm Sarah.
My name is Patrick.
I'm Jade.
So first of all, we want to start off with what our recommendation is. I think at first we realized that given the rise of e-commerce and e-commerce shopping by millennial consumers, we think that is an opportunity for PepsiCo to launch a bundle product that combines both the lemon product and also the Imagine snacks. Our key recommendation is to bundle both items on Amazon. At the same time, this will satisfy some of the key consumer insights that we've identified. The key consumer insight is also leveraging those insights and at the same time increasing brand awareness and also driving some market share. So as we looked at this, we picked a consumer that we think would be a perfect target for us. So this is the Patterson's family. And then in this key insight, we're looking at this is a mom that has 2 kids, and then the household income is about $80,000. And the key problem that she's trying to identify or solve is also she's trying to pick out what is the best healthy snack option for her and her family, and at the same time, what is also a good choice for her as a mom. So as she's going through this decision making and thought process, she's looking for a way to shop online, but at the same time, she's looking for what is most convenient for her, and then where can she save the most money. So with that, she's going to Amazon to look at some of the options that's available that she can save money on, and also that she can find some savings. So with that, I'll end it up with
Thanks, Oni. So to understand this consumer target and what would actually make someone decide to purchase a new bundle on Amazon, we decided to do a little bit more background research into who the millennial parents are. And we found a very interesting tension with millennials. So interestingly enough, that demographic is spending more time with their kids than any generation that's come before them. And as a result, 41% of moms are saying that they're sacrificing their own me time for that additional time with their kids. And while we can't add more hours in the day, what we can do is help moms find a solution to kind of ease that tension. And with that, we came up with what we think is the perfect solution. So PepsiCo is uniquely positioned against their competitors because they have a variety of brands in their portfolio that can solve for both moms and kids and what they're looking for. So we came up with a new bundle, the Weekend Fun Snack Bundle, which brings together these 2 new popular products, the Lemon Sparkling Water and the Imagine snacks. And by putting those together, we're giving something to both moms and their kids. And we know that'll be successful for 2 reasons. So for one, the brand benefits between these 2 overlap really well. There's a couple things that we were able to pull from both sides that we think transfer to one another, such as the natural ingredients, the wholesome elements, and then the fact that it's fun and flavorful. And then the second thing is that we know that these 2 things can be consumed when moms are actually spending time with their kids, giving them some me moments within the time that they're actually with their children. So satisfying both needs. With that, I'll turn it over to Patrick.
Thank you, Sarah. So like Sarah said, we wanted to, really address 2 things. The first was, did this make sense from a marketing perspective? And I think the answer is yes. Again, PepsiCo is sort of uniquely positioned in a sense that its competitors like LaCroix, for example, cannot compete on both products, and so bundling makes sense from that perspective. But we also wanted to see what the price would be. Certainly if this makes a lot of sense from a marketing standpoint, but it doesn't make any sense from a pricing standpoint, then it doesn't make sense to proceed with bundling the 2 items. And the price target that we came up with was $14.99. This was after doing an analysis on the marginal cost of producing the bundle, as well as the competitive pricing, specifically versus things like LaCroix and Annie's. This is sort of a balanced model, so what we wanted to do is find something that would provide margin, but without we didn't want to sort of put too much weight on generating immediate margin, which might jeopardize sales. Likewise, we didn't simply want to drive sales and produce something that would be operating at a negative margin. Overall, we think that this actually is a good price point if you were to buy comparable things. Again, if we go to something like LaCroix or Annie's, if you buy them independently, you're spending between $15.50 and $16. And so in this case, not only are they getting two products that sort of meld well together from a marketing standpoint, but it's also very competitive on price. Again, this is something, again, we tried to find balance. Amazon is still going to make its usual margin, which was stated as 25% in the case. This was something that if it was more flexible in reality, that would certainly be beneficial to PepsiCo. And at the $14.99 price point, this is going to generate approximately 15% profit margin for Pepsi. Again, as this goes down, we looked at other price points as well, as low as like $13.99, and there's still margin to be made there, but again, that would be a relatively thin margin for Pepsi. Overall, again, what we're trying to do is find something that works from a marketing standpoint, as well as I think in this case is still going to generate margin for Pepsi. Now I'm going to turn it over to Jade, who's going to talk a bit about our marketing strategy.
Thanks, Patrick. So for the marketing strategy for this specific bundle, the Weekend Fun Bundle, we wanted to do two primary focuses to make sure we're reaching the target market that we want to be messaging to and doing that effectively cost-wise. So our primary focus is going to be to communicate this message through targeted channels. And the most targeted channels are the AMS search with category and the sampling find. And the sampling find is specifically an interesting one because about 70% of consumers are relying on those consumer feedback. So when they're shopping on Amazon, they're looking to see what other buyers are saying about the product. So investing in Vine and having those people sample the product and write those descriptions so that they can see if their other kids are loving it or if they like the taste of lemon, especially since it's a new product, making sure that immediately that feedback is out there, especially because 81% of those consumers looking at those consumer reviews are millennials, which is in our target market. So it's very important to have that message clear. And then our second focus in terms of channels was the CPM and the cost per thousand. So setting the priority of getting this message in front of as many people as possible, making sure the product has visibility within the budget that was defined, $200,000. So the two channels were the AMG display at $2 per thousand customers and AMS search with grocery, which was $4 per thousand customers. And so staying within this $200,000 budget throughout a one-year cycle doing this ad campaign, we wanted to invest up front, again, making sure that we had immediate visibility in the market and that when people were searching for these products, there were reliable customer reviews and some credibility that the product would be a good purchase for them. So investing up front, then leveling about $10,000 a month to keep a steady streamline through the winter months, and this is beginning in November, dipping a little bit until the summer months. So since we're branding this as a weekend fun package, we know that consumers are most likely to buy this over the summer months when temperatures are better, they're having weekends with their kids, and so investing a little bit heavier in marketing over those summer months and then remaining at that 10,000 threshold through the end of the year. And so the budget spend is a little bit under the $200,000 that was set. Impressions is a little bit over 55 million people who are seeing these products through those channels that I mentioned. New customers is estimated at about 609,000 for that first year. So this is a steady base, and not to say that those people might be repurchasing in future years. And then revenue is a little bit under $1 million with that 15% profit margin that Patrick mentioned is going to come about to 137,000 in profit. And this is a very conservative estimate based on the click-through rates and conversion rates at a minimum. And again, not to say this is only the first year and that those customers who are buying the products won't love it and rebuy. So this is our most conservative estimate. And again, as Patrick mentioned, this is going to give us an extra 5% market share in that carbonated beverage and snack industry to be in the combined package. So I'm going to pass it right back to Oni.
Awesome. So to really tie this in a very pretty bow, I think the key thing that we've kind of mentioned is that it's the bundling of the two items together. This is really driving on the insight of what a mom is looking to solve, and that is combining a choice that gives her a healthy choice in using lemon, at the same time providing a benefit for her kids. Going back to the Peterson family, where she can provide the Imagine snacks. So really the key thing here is by using this pack size, we can drive, kind of like a trial and repeat. And that's what we started with the 3 bags and 8 cans, given the standard kind of supply chain packaging that's in place. And also with that can help us strengthen this brand and this new segment in the e-com, and hopefully help us to be more competitive with other players in the market. And with that, we thank you. Thanks everyone.
So very nice job in I think putting together a very robust recommendation in a very short amount of time. And I think what I enjoy about your presentation was it was very balanced and looking at different things from multiple angles, whether it was the pricing on cost and competition, right, or the financial analysis around margin and sales, or the media as well, looking at it from a strategy, but also from the cost and efficiency perspective. So I thought it was kind of a good combination there. So my question is, as you look at your revenue projections, it seems like the approach you guys took was basically based on an A&M investment or a media investment, and then calculating based on a conversion rate. I was wondering if you guys looked at the different approach of calculating revenue, or if you pressure test those assumptions a different way.
Sure. We have the numbers in Appendix E, I believe, if you want to flip to that. Yes. So what we did is do the tactics and the campaign spending, how much we're spending on each one, the total impressions that they would generate, and then the purchases we calculated based on a 1% click-through rate for those channels that were not targeted, and then assumed maybe a 2% click-through rate for those channels that were more targeted. Again, pretty conservative. And then from there, the people were actually clicking through to the product and looking at it. We calculated about a 10% purchase rate for those, and then revenue times the $14.99 to the profit of 15%, which he mentioned.
But again, how does that compare, right? That revenue projection of $1 million, right? How does that compare to the rest of the landscape? What's your market share? Did you guys thought about, hey, is that 2x versus the category, or did you just did the bottom up and that was the math and that was the number?
Yeah, so I could talk about it as well. So we sort of focused on the 3 main competitors listed in each category in the case. I guess on the beverage side, it was more around LaCroix and Dasani, and then on the other side, it was sort of Annie's. This would put Pepsi, like you said, at a 5% overall market share. It was sort of difficult to tell just because these are very early stage products. But yes, we did think about how it would fit in, and again, it's a unique product, so we feel good about the recommendation.
So basically, the size of the category being like a 50 million. What was the size of the category you were looking at?
Of the 2, I think we have it in an appendix. I don't want to go off the cuff. Yeah, so looking at the 2, again, these are the 3 top competitors looking at those figures.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So what was the market share you planned on getting out of this competitive set?
The total size would be about 5%.
How do you think about growth going forward in that category? How much will it grow, and what and why could Pepsi then take a bigger share of that market going forward?
I mean, if you're looking at just general trends, I think everyone would expect top line to grow in e-commerce, specifically Amazon. And I mean, there's certainly a tangent, like a sort of a side benefit of when you're marketing this product specifically to millennials, you would expect that number to grow. It's certainly it's a large area, and this sort of fits with their spending habits. So as far as a more detailed projection of what the top line would be at something like Amazon, or potentially what these products would be, I don't have a solid number to give, but certainly I think they're favorable projection.
I can add to that too. We did look at eMarketer, and we saw that 62% of millennials right now are buying groceries online at least once a month, and it's a similar number for parents as well. So we figured that this is really a strategy to drive trial. It's difficult on Amazon to compete with the lead products because of the way the algorithms and the recommendations work, but once the trial is ignited and the product sees more and more traction, we think that it would continue to grow as it kind of moves up in the ranks on Amazon.
And to add to that, our projections were very conservative, being that they were only focused on what would come directly from these targeted ads in this $200,000 budget. But as we know, PepsiCo has other bundled packages, and not to say that Amazon with the algorithms wouldn't have these options for those existing customers that are already buying bundled packages in their online grocery shopping. So as this trend grows, not only are these projections coming from this ad campaign, but those customers continue buying, and also existing customers become aware of this through natural channels as well.
So you've got a scatter plot in there. What's the scatter plot?
That's a good question.
Yeah, so I'll own up to it. So one of the things we wanted to focus on again was competing on price. And so one of the things we looked at was the relationship between the price. In this case, it was LaCroix, which was one of the larger sales. What the relationship between price and the number of units sold was. This was just data pulled from the stuff that you provided. It was year-to-date sales on Amazon, on Pantry, and just on Amazon's website. And again, this is more qualitatively showing that this is a customer that is sensitive to price, and so when we came up with a recommendation on what we would price the bundle at, we wanted to make sure that it was below what the competitor would charge.
So did you calculate the elasticity of LaCroix?
To be honest, I didn't, but it would be, for us, it would be, I guess, an element calculation.
Yeah. But did you also use this to maybe think about a promotional strategy that goes beyond kind of this everyday bundle? How you could leverage that data?
Yeah, I mean, I imagine there's a lot of different ideas that you could, I mean, in CPG broadly, I imagine, price would be very sensitive regardless of if you're selling it in a bundle or otherwise. Did we expand on this just in the constraints that we did? We didn't.
Well, you have 5 hours.
Well, I mean, I'll be here tomorrow maybe. There you go. But to answer your question, no.
Yeah.
Hey, Sarah, you look like you did a lot of good research coming into this. I mean, there was one point that you made that I hadn't heard before. I was curious if your source was around millennial moms spend more times with their children now than they did previous
that was
generations.
a UC Irvine study that we came across in our research, and it's been picked up by a couple other sources too. So Bustle and Romper, a popular women's site, they did another survey, pretty big survey, that played off of that information and tried to get a little deeper into the reasons, like why is that happening, what are their values, and what's causing, or what's the trade-off that's occurring as a result of that increased time spent with kids. And so that's how we got to the insight.
You talked about how you're trying to target me time, I guess you called it, or mom to spend time. How do you think you can communicate that through use of Amazon to communicate the message that it's you and your kids?
Yeah, so I think we saw some of the previous bundles that PepsiCo has done on Amazon and the themes and the occasions that they surround. So I think by having clear, crisp language around it being weekend fun time with their kids, but then also including something that's enjoyable for moms, which is the sparkling water, I think it would convey that, because that's kind of something that's known as an indulgence, a healthy indulgence, but something that's an enjoyable moment for the mom.
Can you just walk us through your appendix? Because it seems like you had a lot of great information. I was surprised by how
Especially if they're A, B, C, it's like,
The fact that you knew it was E, like off the top of your head.
I guess we'll each sort of cover different things. So I guess generally this was based on a lot of the sort of assumptions and the stated facts in the case. So I think the main ones, probably the most important ones, were coming up with the marginal cost for producing the bundle. And again, those were facts stated in the case. We more or less extrapolated out. I mean, it's a bit of a messy spreadsheet, but we basically took the facts stated and then more or less backed into what it would cost to produce it. The other, I guess 2 of the appendices relate to cost. There's that one scatter plot, and then we have one on market, and then appendix E.
So I think one key thing that we kind of wrestled on was when we saw the price. So I think currently on Amazon you have the 3 bags that are going for, I think it's $18.99. So when we looked at our price, which our initial price was at $13.99, we're kind of wondering how do we have this bundle at $13.99, but then those three kind of items are already going at a higher price. I think the key thing that we felt is that we think that price could be too high, especially in terms of if the millennials that are shopping online and looking for deals and looking for kind of value options. And that was one of the key drivers as we thought about like pricing what would be more comfortable for that target kind of audience that we're going after, which kind of impacted how we thought about the price and the margins.
Did you consider bundling with any other products in the marketplace, or did you decide pretty quickly this was your bundle?
Yeah, we considered a few different options. We talked about that for quite a while, and being that these are both new products, one thing we considered is combining one of them with a more well-known product to get that visibility and people to be able to try the second one. And so we really focused on making sure that if we were going to combine two new products, what is that marketing strategy that is going to get someone to be able to try those two new products, which is why we really focused on those customer reviews and having the messaging and established place in the market and the pricing that was low enough so that people would be willing to try this bundle once, and if they liked it, continue purchasing, but making sure the price wasn't too high so that people wouldn't take the chance to try it once, but it was positioned in a way so that they would be able to try both.
Yeah, and I think also is how do you get, since it's two brand new kind of items in the category where you already have established players, leveraging an established brand with a new brand would have been a good option. But I guess we didn't really know what the cost structure is, in terms of Lay's or regular Pepsi to kind of come up with pricing a profit. So we kind of more stayed in the parameters of the case.
Can you give us a little bit of insight of your team dynamics? What was kind of like some of the things that you struggled with or more difficult decisions, and then how do you kind of were able to produce this with all this time that you had in hand?
Does anyone want to lead, or I'd be happy to talk on it? I mean, we just met each other about 12 hours ago. So you're right, it is a bit of a challenge. One of the good things about modern technology is that you can all edit a PowerPoint at the same time. So, that was certainly key. There's no, we don't have maybe, like a strong history of working together, but I think, division, I think we had a pretty sort of, I guess we'll say like a structure where we're going to spend these 2 hours sort of, what are the problems that we're focusing on, and then we sort of agree on that. And then the next 2 hours is sort of like, how are we going to sort of put this in slides, and then some time for rehearsing. I think it was relatively structured, dividing labor up, and certainly bouncing ideas off of each other when it was feasible.
And another thing I thought that was important to our success today is this morning we went through all of our strengths and identified which people were stronger in which areas, and so we used that conversation to leverage who would be best placed in which tasks as we went throughout the day. So when things came up, we didn't have to have a ground zero conversation about who would be best to do this or who has time to do it. And so our work was structured so that the person who is best capable of doing that task was the one who we automatically asked to do it. So that saved us some time throughout the day too.
Was there anything that you went through after going through the presentation, if you had more time, that you would have spent investigating, either using a similar analysis or a different one?
Yeah, so as we mentioned earlier, the market share that we examined in this is specific to Amazon, really getting to the e-commerce piece that PepsiCo is looking to grow. But I think there's room to further analyze how that plays into the bigger market share and how we can utilize brick and mortar shoppers and push them towards Amazon as well. So this is based on driving trial among current Amazon users. There's a lot of room to grow beyond that as far as using other media channels and actually using in-store ideas to further group these products together and bring new people to Amazon.
Yeah, so I think another thing would have been if we kind of know what the cost structures are for other brands, we can see how we can partner with an emerging brand and also an established brand. As we mentioned, that's something that we really thought about, do we have to stay within the parameters of just these two products, or is there a way that we can use different products to pair? So if we had those numbers and cost structures, then we could see what could be the most effective placement.
Yeah, and we went, especially with this analysis, went through general industry averages as far as click-through rates and conversion rates, but it would have been really great to know on the other bundled products that PepsiCo has, what are those actual rates for these products and how have they grown over time? How was it when the products were initially introduced to the market? Were they new and old existing products? Were they both new products when they were introduced? So I think all of that data could have much better informed the assumptions that we made going through this analysis.
Yeah. I mean, I would certainly echo my teammates' comments. I mean, yes, if we had more than 5 hours, there would be a lot. Yeah, I mean, in something like this, yeah, you do make assumptions, and yeah.
So you say you want to have more time? Good job.
Nice to meet you. Probably. Nice to meet you. Probably. Nice to meet you.
Hi, I'm April. Nice to meet you, April. Nice to meet you. April. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. Hi, I'm April. Nice to meet you. Hi, hey. Recognize you from last night.
Okay, so you obviously just met them, but I'm going to have them go down and say their roles, and then we will start the time. And so 10 minutes for presentation, we'll go right into Q&A, and there will be time cards back here, 5 minutes, 1 minute.
Perfect. Who has the time? Oh, I see it.
We do, yeah. So
Right there.
5 minutes left.
All right.
So Latkadat's revenue management.
Okay. Rich Blazevich, marketing.
Hi, Jim Hathaway, planning.
Ricardo Mejia, finance.
Dave Boisevin, sales strategy.
Yeah, you guys are good. Whenever you want to start.
Well, we are NatuFit. We're a company for over 100 years who has helped people decide should they bundle products together or should they not. And we were given a complicated problem today. Not only should we bundle products, but should we bundle them together on Amazon and e-commerce channel specifically? And overall, after hours of dedicated work, we decided no, they should not be bundled together. And Pav is going to explain a little bit why that is.
Okay. When we look for bundling in general, there are several things we look for. So we threw together a little bit about pros and cons in general, with some peppered a little bit with the specific situation we have to handle. So first, what we want to do is build awareness, sometimes of a product if it's tied to a product that people are already aware of. In this case, both products are relatively new, have small markets, people are unaware. So what we're trying to do is build products of both, and a bundle might do that because some people are looking for crisps, they find soda, they discover the soda. Another benefit is to potentially increase volume sales. The person thinks they're only going to buy crisp, they see a great promotion, bundled together, they also buy soda, so we're increasing volume. In this case specifically, we found a Mintel that 76% of people are willing to try new blurred beverages. That is, beverages that are neither sugary nor purely water, but that middle mix right now is very popular and people are willing to try new ones. So in our case, lemon speaks to we should be promoting things in other packages, other situations where people can discover them because people are willing to try it. There are, however, a lot of dangers. First of all, this promotion might generate very low volume of sales. A few customers might want both products together. We might have a great product for people buying crisps. They're not interested in the lemon. This promotion could tank. It's very hard to quantify. Second, not a natural fit. When you bundle, what you don't want to do is confuse brand messages. There is a danger of that happening here. Both of these are in the good for you category, but they might not be on the same level. Lowered sugar quantities in lemon is good for you, but it's not as good as something that's advertised as organic through and through. If we look at the ingredients on the back, it's purely an organic product. It doesn't appeal to exactly the same kind of mentality when shopping. We might not leverage the individual strengths of both of these brands. So again, organic versus still a CSD, it's lighter but fun. We also found that 18 to 34-year-olds are, for their own consumption, are interested in water. Okay, water pairs very well and in terms of taste with the yogurt, and we can talk about that in a second. April will go on. We might have problems with higher packaging costs. Amazon might ask for more money if they're picking and packing together. We didn't have any exact kind of details in terms of that, but there might be a problem of how we get it to them and what they're going to have to do in the moment of each sale. It's unusual on Amazon to find these kinds of pairings, which shows to us that simply people are not used to it. When you bundle things together in Amazon, it's usually for reasons of special events, a basket for a picnic, or there's a variety of flavors of the same kind of product. So a crisp and a juice, not so common. It's a little bit unusual. People might be a little bit afraid. To break this down, what we want to do is grow visibility of both and use and target people who use the products together. Now, we put this down here in the quadrant, which is very negative. We might be a little bit harsh because millennials do use both of these, but in two different moments. Lemon Lemon appeals to fun, your favorite summer memory, potentially off the back of 7-Up. We're targeting people to mix drinks, alcohol. These are all things that don't necessarily mix with organic food for their children. So it could be here because the same age range uses it, but not in the same moments. That's why it's low. Growing visibility, we are not exactly leveraging very visible products. Neither of these would gain a lot by being bundled to the other one. So ideally, we would have an ideal bundle up there, which might be something that marries very well, the same demographics, similar brand values. We might have Aquafina and the yogurt crisps as opposed to Lemon Lemon yogurt crisps. Going further, we developed a general marketing plan.
So when it comes to Amazon and the impressions and the cost chart that you provided to us, we decided to focus on the line sampling, targeting individuals who are top reviewers, who are considered honest, because there's this whole trend that's happening within Mattel, which is a consumer insights database research firm, that there's guiding choices. When people are looking for things throughout Amazon, they look at the Q&A, they really dive deep into the reviews, and that will have a huge impression on whether they purchase or not. And so we wanted to put most of our money towards getting the higher end sponsors, and we decided if you were to bundle, we would bundle Aquafina and the yogurt crisps together, because the consumption of bottled water is up between from that age of millennial groups, the 18 to 34 group, and it is a more complementary item to the yogurt crisp. We have some other interesting target market information and tactics that Shai is going to give to you.
So in terms of what we're going to do with regards to just the yogurt crisps and the Lemon Lemon, we decided that obviously they are targeting millennials, but at different life stages. The organic yogurt crisps are targeting millennial parents that are looking for something for their kids. And usually the purchasing behavior we looked at was they're looking for these kinds of snacks when they're on the go, when they're going for a soccer game, taking their kids off and they want to get something for the whole team, or something to take on the road if there's a road trip. And so we felt that the ideal tactic to really leverage that brand would be to bundle the yogurt crisps as a sort of on the go, on the road type of variety snack pack, along with other Frito-Lay brands. And also for Lemon Lemon, also we are targeting millennials there. However, that is more for the millennial that's looking to have fun, looking for more of a cocktail type thing, beverage. We looked at your guys' Instagram page and we really got that fun vibe that, you know, you're trying to enjoy yourself during the summertime. And so we feel that Lemon Lemon is more of a product for that sort of use. And so we feel that it would be better. The purchasing behavior is obviously more of a craft cocktail, a fun beverage to be really combined with alcohol. And so we wanted to partner with BuzzFeed's Tasty to sort of leverage Lemon Lemon as a mix-in for a cocktail beverage. And we feel that's really going to help increase your brand awareness, and also leverage a cocktail recipe book type thing on Amazon, so that when people do purchase these beverages, they have something. They're not just going to always be like, oh, well, what else am I going to do with this? There's an added value to that. So that's what we feel about that. And in terms of why we're doing this, well, we got this data from Mintel, and the first stat here is that Canada Dry has zeroed in on millennials by showcasing natural ingredients, evoking relaxation, and also promoting itself as a mixture for cocktails. So what this means is that there's been a higher trend nowadays to sort of not just brand your product as for its own good, but for also as an added value for other things, and that's really helping to increase the sales of this particular brand. And also, Proper Tasty is the fastest growing Facebook page and has 3.7 million viewers or followers and 190 million video views in just a month. And this is like the fastest way that we can really gain brand awareness. And also there's a principle of the mental guiding choice, which essentially means that it's really important for us to have Q&As and better and people engaging on a brand, like on Amazon, whether it's talking about the ratings or putting in their input on the comments. And so it's really important to engage consumers, and so content marketing, these kinds of principles are very important. And in terms of how much this is going to cost, Sean will give us a little more information.
Great. So, let's see if I got the right direction here. Let's break it down, big numbers first. The strategy that was just outlined is going to cost $200,000. It's going to produce 15 million total impressions on Amazon. And at a conversion rate of 0.7%, for just trying the product once, we will see a break even on that investment. But we know that they're not going to just try the product once. So let's talk about these profitability numbers specifically. The profit number that probably looks most unfamiliar to you here is going to be the lemon. And that's because we saw some very interesting conflicting data when we looked at these products on Amazon. We saw packs that cost $4.60 per pack, and we saw a pack that cost $19.95 per pack, which gave us kind of a start. So what we're suggesting is that we change the pricing to approximately $1 per can average, and that produces a $2.01 profit margin per 8-pack. The yogurt crisps, these numbers are based on what we found on Amazon existing today and the cost data that was given to us in the case. So this builds up to our 0.7% conversion payback period, which is completely doable with existing
That's
data.
time, so we're gonna have to move to Q&A now.
So if you would have had more time, where would you have landed that?
I would have landed it at the number of units that we needed to sell, and
How many was that?
So for the yogurt crisps, we calculated that we need to sell, in terms of package size, the 4.5 ounce package size, 35,000 units. For the lemon, we needed to sell a total, huh?
You can go back to
Actually, it's not up there because the presentation was due before we could put the data down.
Yeah.
So I apologize for that. I'm running off of memory. I think we needed to sell 91,000 cans. No, that would be 91,000 packs in order to meet the 2.5% market threshold that was given to us.
So how many sales are you going to have in the first year?
Total revenue?
Yeah, total revenue.
The mental math is, because we did it on a per unit basis, 31,000. Let me, I'm sorry. That's it. Because of the way we broke down the math, I didn't do the aggregate sales volume. I just brought it all down to units.
Got it. All right. So,
just out of curiosity, what was the key when you sat down to decide what your work plan was going to look like? What were some of the key decisions that you decided right up front that decided what you were going to do for the rest of the time you had together?
Well, we decided we were going to figure out, is the combination good or is the combination bad?
Because you were decisive on that. You came out and said, I want something different, which was bold. So.
Well, what we chose to do is we chose to make one solid decision together as a team, and then find all of the data that just supported that decision. And so I got on Intel and looked up all of this data about what millennials are doing with their children and what millennials are drinking and eating and what kind of lifestyle components do they want with their beverages and what's happening in the beverage market as a whole. And these two worked on financials and numbers, and she helped create the slideshow, and so we divvied up the work based on skills. But
to augment what April said, when we looked at the original problem, we decided that the bundling decision was certainly the one that we needed to make earliest, and so we prioritized the influencing factors to that. And it became clear quickly that there were only a few that were important to us, were the complementary goods, could we see the bundle naturally on Amazon? Those questions were answered no very quickly. So that created that firm, we're not doing this. And then, as she said, we went back and found supporting data based on analytics.
Did you guys think of doing more math before you made the decision?
We looked at that and decided that with 5 hours, we started getting into the weeds pretty quickly, and we felt like we needed to draw ourselves back up to the 30,000 foot strategic level.
And if I may, to all these points, it sounds like we just went in and said, these two products are awful, let's go from there together. They're great products individually, but to get to that conclusion, we obviously did research of the market, how the brands presented themselves, did research into millennials, and so that decision wasn't, within 5 minutes, what do we think, don't bundle, let's go from there. We looked at how these feel and how they might relate to demographics, so our initial study was based on kind of marketing considerations in terms of public reaction, things like that.
I like the way you identified the usage occasions for each. If you brought this presentation forward and then the executive said, hey, I really want a bundle, not necessarily these products, but I want to combine these products with other products. Did you have much discussion on what other products you might combine these with?
For example, with, we did talk about that briefly, and for example, with yogurt crisps, we felt that was more of like, with the family type thing, so that's why we wanted to bundle that with Aquafina. And in terms of the lemon, we felt since it's more of like a party, enjoying something with your friends as a millennial, we felt that for that we would want to use other Frito-Lay products like Tostitos, something more like in a party atmosphere. So it's definitely possible to bundle these with other products, but not together, because we felt that they just were at different stages in the millennials' life and different times of the, whether they're, with their families or whether they're just, having fun in an adult setting. So we kind of felt like it didn't go together well.
I thought you did a really good job articulating it, that it's not a natural fit, the way you kind of walked through that. It made sense to me sitting here hearing that. A little more, though, on the idea of taking a product like Lemon and like the lead is positioning it as a mixer in terms of what you saw. I saw that quote up there, but it's kind of an interesting angle to take a product like that.
So the Canada Dry,
Here you are.
where's the clicker? The Canada Dry quote was something that kind of directed us. So we found this on Mintel as well. And they found that only Dr. Pepper Snapple had growth over like the 2016 year period. And they attributed some of that to Dr. Pepper having that unique flavor, but then they attributed a lot of it to Canada Dry targeting this sort of like natural craft cocktail market. And they did a lot of advertising and a lot of like niche advertising towards that demographic. And so we saw success. Canada Dry is carbonated. They have that whole like natural kind of component to it. There's a lot more sugar, but Lemon is far more fun and engaging, but they're kind of similar beverages in that way.
Did you look at the products in terms of like where they're positioned as a value product or a premium product, and what does better as mixers?
I think in craft cocktail world in terms, the more that craft cocktail bars are growing, that whole like New York craft cocktail bar, I think that a premium beverage fits well with it, a premium mixer.
You saw that is positioned as a premium. But
Yeah.
And as we were drinking it as well, we were just like, man, if this had some vodka in it. Yeah, exactly.
That's the night.
And also in general, I'm not sure if you guys scroll through your Facebook page and see that Tasty works with other like Coca-Cola products or other competitor products, and they take a really like simple product that is very versatile, and they just mix it with these crazy
it's Proper Tasty.
Proper Tasty is it's a British version, but there's different Tasties for all over the world. There's Indian Tasty and there's American Tasty, which is just regular Tasty. And during the holidays, I believe Smirnoff Vodka, they did sponsored content with them, and they created these it was a candy cane, the martini and some weird, craft unique beverages, and there's just so much opportunity to take this regular lemon and make a margarita out of it, make some kind of martini out of it. And I feel that, and we felt that by leveraging a really well-known millennial channel, we could help grow brand awareness.
No idea.
There's another, also, frankly,
The marketing people know what tasting is.
I wanted to come back because as I was scrolling through my spreadsheets here, I realized I did have those numbers, and I just wanted to clarify. For the yogurt crisps, we were looking at $3.2 million gross revenue at Amazon. And then for lemon, we were looking at 550,000 and change.
Yeah, so much smaller.
Yeah.
Interesting. Right? It's good mental math.
Just made it up.
We have it on an Excel spreadsheet on the laptop.
No, I was like,
Very good. Yeah.
So I was just curious if you guys, in terms of pricing strategy, if you had any, because this, so that's, the revenue is really your price, like revenue per unit. But what was the thinking in terms of how you came up with 5 or 6? I mean, sounds like a random number, but.
That's revenue to you guys. So what we looked at was the sales price for the 3-pack bundle on Amazon, which is $18. Divide by 3 to get the unit price, and then backed out their trade margin.
But what things do you thought about in terms of setting a price point? Like, what was the logic behind $18 or?
Well, any competitors in their very kind of premium, similar packaging go $4 and up, and we thought that this could be justified because it's purely organic and it sells itself as something that's very healthy, an alternative to something that a very kind of premium household might want to get into. 3-pack bundle could work at this price.
Didn't we do a comparison on Walmart.com of Canada Dry and lemon?
That's for lemon, yeah. You were asking about...
Oh, just in general.
I mean, you were asking about the yogurt crisps?
No, either or. I mean,
yeah, the comparison with lemon was with Canada Dry, and which can be found in different retailers, anywhere from 80 cents a can up to about 95 in packs of 6 usually. And we thought that placing it just slightly above Canada Dry and with the 7-Up range would be a better price for that product.
I think Pav is covering a little bit. There was a significant amount of discussion about what we would do with price points, but given our time constraints, this was another one of those 30,000-foot strategic decisions that if we had more time to do, I know that there was thirst on our team to kind of take a more critical eye to that.
Just out of curiosity, did anybody fight the mixer idea?
First of all, we're not a lot, because we saw that 7-Up is going into it. We were very influenced by the Instagram page. Frankly, those people look like they're drinking. There's a girl on a towel with lemons in front of her eyes. The packaging itself looks like some fun.
They also are the only ones that asked to see any other 7-Up related, so they got to see the 2018.
So we looked at this 7-Up website, and then obviously there's the whole mixology, and you have to be 21 to access the site further. And with the new product having 7-Up on there, when we talk about natural fit, that's where this was leading us. Obviously with rebranding, repackaging, maybe using a similar flavor, going for that same kind of level of sugar intake to appeal. But the truth is that these kinds of mixers are going to get more popular going forward. And right now people like mixing drinks with sugar, but the trend is people are going to get interested in light products going forward, even for their cocktails, if they taste good enough, because nobody wants the excess calories. And that's a good argument for not thinking that this is a product that naturally suits itself to that very good for you kind of product, but a mixer that is better for you than the mixer you're currently using, which is a good selling point.
But you gave me a good answer before when you talked about the math you did before you decided kind of the big decisions.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, when you looked at a market study of how big the market would be for mixers, did you think about, if we go down that path, the individual that's going to buy this product for a mixer is not necessarily the individual but I started with the initial assumption.
We didn't know this. In fact, as we said, the age demographic was similar. And even if it's the same person, it's a different moment of buying. So I'm the same person, and I've got kids. I want to take them out, and I want them to have a nice portable snack. I'm looking at the yogurt. I'm kind of denying that part of me that also, wants to get drunk. And in that moment, I don't want to see the two products paired. What I want to do is I want to buy my, kids a nice healthy snack, and then I want to choose my product of choice for having, that fun picnic beverage, which doesn't have to have alcohol in it because, the packaging is fun for a barbecue or a tailgate anyway. You don't have to get drunk off of this product for it to be a good product. But the two things, and also we tasted it, and frankly, the combination is very, very sweet. And when you think of the yogurt crisps, you want water, and you don't want a soda, I suppose.
Yeah,
Old carbonated. Yeah, if you want, you can have everything. But we went not so much the demographic, but the different moments that these things are used. And people want increasingly for their kids and for their families products that they can have in activities outside of the house. And so you want things where the can isn't going to be exploding if it moves around. Your kid's going to be doing physical activity. You might be running around as well in that moment. Is this really that kind of thirst quenching product? Not so much. So.
I don't completely agree with you, but I thought you did a very good job of explaining your point of view and backing it up on the moment. I thought that was very good how you positioned that.
If you had another 5 hours, what would you have done next?
We definitely would have renegotiated the price per pack of the yogurt crisps. Some of us thought it was a little bit steep, but we didn't have time to look at the numbers with different prices, so we think as an ultimate retail price, it should cost less than $5 per pack, probably about $3.94.
Yeah, we did some comparable analysis, and there, obviously there's some frozen yogurt products.
Corey, nice to meet you. Corey, nice to meet you. Thank you for being here. Nice to meet you. I'm Nathan. Nice to meet you. I'm Nathan. See you're all enjoying the products.
This guy's eating 3 bags of magic.
No kidding?
I know. I keep looking over there, and Ricardo's just eating more.
They won the one there.
I know you just shook their hands and met them, and I'll have them introduce themselves and their roles, and then we'll go ahead and get started with time, 10 minutes and then 15 minutes, and the time card should be right here. So,
Afterwards, revenue management.
Hi, Rich Blazevich, marketing.
Hi, Jim Hathaway, finance.
Ricardo on the chair, finance.
Dave Woodson, sales strategy.
I'm Corey Schultz.
Nathan Brazier.
Lakshmi.
And my name's Zach Eli.
Oh, we are the chipsters.
We are the chipsters, team chipsters. All right, ready? All right, guys, so thank you for being here. So if you're familiar with our 2 products, we really wanted to think strategically about getting these 2 products off the ground. We have 2 very different products, and we wanted to leverage our position as Pepsi and Frito-Lay products, and also take advantage of some of the growing trends in the market today. People continuing to shop online, that number increasing ever more. So we started with yogurt crisps. We actually decided quite early not to bundle these 2 products together. We'll get into each of their specific strategies. With yogurt crisps, we definitely wanted to target millennial mothers. These are mothers shopping online, they're on the go, they need something and a product that will match their lifestyle as well. So something they can grab and go. The main strategy with yogurt crisps was actually looking at the packaging. Rather than having that larger 4.5 ounce package, reduce the package size to 1.5 ounces and make it a 24 count. Something that the mothers can grab and go, make their life much easier, and at the same time offer a great healthy snack for their kids. We really we looked at conversion, the amount of impressions we could get. AMS and AMG were certainly high converters, but also being a new product and not being bundled to an established product, it was important to contact, use our existing clients and really, capture some of that conversion using email marketing, try to get that product on the screens of our consumers.
Yeah, so breaking down some of the yogurt crisp product costs. This is some of the data we had for the 4.5 ounce sizes. So we broke them down by some of the raw materials and overhead costs. At the $3.49 sales price point, we see margins up 16%, and at $3.22, we see that smaller percent of 12. So our idea is instead of selling them in packs of 8, we want to sell them in packs of 24 at the 1.5 ounce size. The price point, we're thinking that we could charge a little bit more, but the cost, they're going to vary slightly, especially in the packaging area, but pretty similar overall.
So both these products, if we see, broadly fall into the food category. So if we look at the food at home expense that is expected to grow to 100 billion by 2025, and we estimate the current market share to be 20 billion out there on the food at home expenses, of which 25% is online, which is 5 billion market. And from the digital market data that we have from Amazon, the current sales of total snack sales that we have is 155 million, and of which we expect the kids' share to be 32% of this total snack sales, which should be 49 million. So there's a lot of potential out there which we can tap and get the market share from. And if we look at our specific competitors, Annie's and Horizon, they have about 3.2 million, which is very less out of the total potential market out there. So there is a lot of potential, and we are very excited about our product.
So next product we looked at was the lemon. First thing we did was look at the sparkling water market and ask ourselves, why do people drink sparkling water? And we found that there was a lot of millennials, and they're looking for a different option, a substitute for your traditional sodas. Then we looked at the marketing strategy, and we said, we are going to bundle this one. With so much competition with LaCroix and San Pellegrino, we need a way to differentiate how this is being bought compared to just going to the grocery store and seeing LaCroix. So we're going to bundle it with Aquafina 24 packs. More and more people are buying bottled water, and we feel like the 24 pack is the right option because it's the right option for reordering. And that goes right into the subscription pricing. So we're looking at this subscription option that would give consumers an extra discount, but it's automatically sending them this bundled package once a month, twice a month, whatever conversion rate that they wanted to come to their door. And this also gives them the option to maybe try other flavors. So maybe the first time they get peach, then the next time they can go in and say, I want the mixed berry one now instead, or I want the lemon one. And we feel like the more flavors that they try, the more loyal they're going to be to the Lemon brand, and it'll just keep them coming back. Then we looked at the marketing strategy, or the marketing spending, and it's very similar to the yogurt crisps overall. As far as where the money is going, how much money is being spent, but I will say it is less than the yogurt crisp as far as total spend is concerned. And our reasoning behind that was, with bundling it with the Aquafina, we figured we're going to leverage the current Aquafina brand and that label, and get some of the Aquafina marketing spend helping out the Lemon.
Cool. So now jumping to Lemon product cost breakdown. Same idea. We broke it down by variable costs and some of the other fees that are associated. Some of these numbers look a little bit alarming at first to me. We end up with some negative margins. And one of the biggest contributing factors to that is that Amazon charge. Right now we assumed a 25% charge from Amazon for our products. And doing some market research, we really think we get that down to close to like 6%, which would go a long way for our margins in the Lemon product cost line.
So looking at the total beverage sales that Amazon has currently, it is 27.3 million, and we want to position ourselves in the sparkling market, sparkling water market. And we see that our competitors, LaCroix, have about 3.34 million, and San Pellegrino 5.5 million, and Dasani 0.4. So that contributes to only 34% of the total market, and there is really a lot out there, and the digital is the way to build people.
All right, guys. So we've outlined for you then, like you saw, some of the strategic marketing routes that we're going to take, leveraging our position as Pepsi products already, and tapping into that current customer base. So we're pretty confident that using these sort of strategies, we'll be able to get these new products off the ground and really tap into that millennial customer base. Thank you.
I'm not judging, but I like your picture up there.
Thank you.
I would like some photo crowds, but the crowd.
Photo by page.
Yeah, try to get some clarity on your crisp pricing, because you kept referencing a more of a multi-pack, 1.5 ounce, 24 count.
Yes.
Then you showed a pricing of like $3.22 on, I guess, the current 4.5 ounce. Are you recommending I didn't see it, but were you recommending we do a 24 count, and then if we did, what would be the price, or is that just another idea you had time?
Yeah, absolutely. So right now we're packaging it in packs of 8 for 4.5 ounces, and what we're thinking is we're going to sell it as a 24 pack, 1.5 ounce sizes. And that goes in that kind of like grab and go category, where these mothers, they don't want to carry on this giant bag, they just want to grab something small, something disposable. And then as far as how that impacts the price, I thought that a lot of these would stay pretty constant, except for maybe some of the packaging costs would slightly increase. And that would give us some leeway as far as increasing our sales price by a little bit too.
You're saying that you still would sell a $3.49 a 24 pack?
Exactly, right.
Like the ounces?
Yeah.
You're saying, yeah. So I mean, do you do the math in terms of the ounces per bag? Is that going to be like 3 crisp or 5 crisp? Or like, is it the configuration of that? Right? Is it the right size? And the costs that go associated with that can still support that price. 3 point, yeah, you don't have the detail in terms of more bags and all that, in terms of the actual the weight of the ounces on the product will be enough for to support the same cost structure.
Yeah. So sorry, I think we at least I may have misunderstood you first. $3.49 would be kind of the current, but for the 24 pack it would be more than that, because there would be more than just the 4.5 ounces. So what did we say? There's 24 times 1.5. So it'd be about 5 times. I think that's what it was. I'm not sure off the top of my head, to be honest with you.
Yeah, but you didn't have time, I guess, to build
correct
the financials for that option.
Correct.
It was just more like an idea that might be a better solution for.
Sure. So mathematically, yeah, we could take the $3.49, multiply that by 8, and that would be the price for the larger quantity of bags. Yeah. So yeah, that's the price of one bag, which would equate to 3 smaller bags.
Right. And how would that compare to other multi-packs? Like, for example, if you multiply that times 8, okay, well, the Annie's multi-pack are in the range. You guys.
We didn't have time to model that option.
Just if you did the 349 times 8, we're right in the range with Annie's and some of their, not their gummies multi-packs, but their cracker multi-packs that they have. They have a little bit larger offering. It's 36 versus this would be 24. But we feel like
the price point better.
And qualitatively, we thought it's more convenient size, and also it would increase the sales, because once that pack is out, it's going to be finished, and they're just going to consume more, versus a multi-serve, which is really dependent on the consumption. But this would be, it would also boost our sales as well.
I thought you had some good logic on that. I don't totally agree with it, because when you're starting with a new product, I don't know that people will dive into a multi-pack where they're not exactly sure what they're getting. It's kind of a thing. Something you're not sure of, but I think the way you thought through it was good. What I thought was interesting too is you pointed out this dilemma of being in e-commerce, where there's there's costs in there that are hard to offset. You want to try to get the price in the marketplace. So I think the arithmetic, given the time, you come out with a little bit different arithmetic. Let's just assume the theory is right, which is that there's a cost in there of going to e-commerce that may be margin degrading. Let's just assume that's true, at least in the current scenario. How would you confront that? With, I want to go to Amazon, but there's actually some higher cost in there than through my traditional channels. What would you do to go address that?
Yeah. Well, I think, you're right. It's very difficult for a new product to live in a place like Amazon. You type in, if you're searching, in category the way that the AMS is working, the most frequently purchased products are generally the ones that are floating to the top. So that's where I'm really concentrating on our marketing spending, both through the AMG, where Amazon is building those display options for us, as well as being able to track how those marketing strategies are converting. That's really where this spending is going to be able to help us most. It is difficult, as I mentioned, for any new product to live in that world, which is why that strategic marketing is really going to be our best bet outside of the bundling strategy, which we're confronted with similar obstacles.
I like how you said, you just disagree with the premise right at the beginning and you gave some good reasons. So given that you've already challenged that convention, would you consider launching this in traditional grocery and then move it over to e-commerce, or do you think you'd launch in e-commerce? I don't have an answer, I'm just curious.
No, I think if you think about it from a long-term perspective, which I think we want to, the premise of this obstacle was thinking where the shopping trend is going and eventually moving away from a brick and mortar. So if you can gain traction, I think in a brick and mortar, especially with some of these shoppers who, 3/4 of them really are still shopping in the stores. So if you're able to gain traction with them in the store, and then as their spending habits and their shopping habits kind of transition into the new technological world, some of these new products might be in a better position to be able to capture some of those customers.
One thing we talked about was, right off the bat, okay, let's almost look at this as we're a focus group of 4 people, and where do we fall in? And consequently, none of us order any type of food or beverage online. I know myself, I enjoy going to the grocery store. I like food. I love going and seeing what I can find and create from that. So I think from that perspective, and considering still about 75% of people are going to go to the brick and mortars, it is a good thing to start in the brick and mortar and then roll out to e-commerce.
I'm interested in the last one. You're the entrepreneur of the group that we've seen today. So based on your extensive experience with that, how would you, putting all this other stuff aside, I just care about your opinion, what do you think we should do?
About both the products? Okay, yeah, I think, we agree that we don't see that as complement to each other, because one is targeted towards kids and healthy and organic, and I don't think that is going to be the selling for people who are very health conscious, who want to go for bottled water. I'm not very sure how willingly they will substitute that with the lemon, because it's having high sugar content as well, right? So I think the strategy would be to have them separate, and also brick and mortar would be the first best thing to do currently. And once the brand is established, I think we'll have a better power to dictate what the percentage can be with Amazon.
Great, thanks, that's well thought.
Did you have much discussion about what your marketing message might be and how that would be different than what the competitors are talking about?
Yeah, we talked about it a little bit. I think we spent most of our time trying to figure out kind of this whole bundle, not bundle, and what does that look like in today's world with Amazon. With the yogurt crisps, we definitely we're trying to focus on this as a healthy, convenient snack for kids. It's not goldfish, it's not Oreos, and relaying the fact that this is organic and really playing off of this organic feel. We see brands like Annie's and Late July and brands like that doing really well just by having organic on the package, and really focusing on that. And then when it came to lemon, we were a little confused at first, I think.
Yeah. It's difficult. If we want to play in the sparkling arena, and we're targeting millennials, you have to get away from that sort of classic idea behind San Pellegrino and Perrier, something we maybe perceive with not only a different market but a different age bracket. The packaging itself, if you look at Lemon and Lemon, it's a much younger feel. We could totally see it falling into the world of social media, Instagram, Twitter, and everything, just because of the packaging alone. It's a lot more fun, it's a lot more playful, something that, if it's laying in a cooler next to a San Pellegrino, a millennial might be willing to give that a shot over San Pellegrino. So sort of thinking about that younger take on a competitive product was certainly something that we talked about, especially early on.
Yeah, I can add on that as well. One thing that we did look at is when you do an Amazon search, it's one thing being able to scroll through the different products and different types of sparkling water. But now that a lot of things are trending towards this voice activation, like Alexa, order me a 24-pack of sparkling water. How do we get our product to the top so that that product's the first one that's ordered on Amazon before we start actually looking at those computers? So I think that's an important area. And we kind of highlight too is where we want to spend some money as far as rising to the top on those voice command purchases.
And we also thought of bundling this actually with other snacks, like other fries or other chips. And maybe if somebody would be buying that along with a Coke, we could maybe get that market share by saying, okay, why don't you just pair it up with this and have a discount on that? So maybe they'll be willing to try this. Maybe this tastes better with the Lay's. So that was one more thing we were thinking. Instead of bundling with the organic healthy thing, that was one more option that we were thinking, but we didn't go with it because we still were not convinced if it is complementary enough.
If you had another 5 hours on this project, what would you have done next?
Definitely more research on the market.
Yeah, I think that especially in the financial data, not having as much as we would have liked. I would have loved to forecast it out some numbers and seeing, okay, quantities, what's the market look like truly? I felt like we relied on the case a lot.
Yeah.
There's a lot of data in there, especially in the Excel spreadsheets. But that's what I would have liked to spend some more time on, is really understanding what does this look like in 2 years? What does this look like in 5 years?
And then also, as kind of piggybacking on what Zach said, was we spent a lot of time talking about this kind of the identity of these two products. What we would like to do is forecast that out, and not only what that looks like long term, but how that changes over time with the shifting behaviors of our consumers as well. So we talked about that and how we would have liked to have been able to do something, but unfortunately those hours go by really quick.
Yeah, I think one thing we touched on early was that number that 70% of people are gonna, be buying food online in the next 10 years. And what does that look like? What does this same idea look like even 5 years from now? And being able to forecast that out, but also have a better idea of kind of how is the spending going to change? How are things like social media campaigns going to affect this? And really focus on, okay, as spending grows, as more people flock to this, what does that look like?
How would you describe your team dynamics?
Well,
I think we had a good time.
Yeah, there was not once did anybody raise their voice. I don't think we broke a sweat. We had our hands got a little shaky in the last 5-10 minutes, but.
I mean, we were able to discuss whatever disagreements we had, and mostly we sorted it by majority vote, and so there was no argument or anything. But we did share all our opinions and put it on front of everyone. Just went by the voting.
I'd say there's definitely a healthy level of respect across the board of each other and each other's ideas and opinions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would say the fact that we got to meet last night and spend some time together and get to know each other helped out a ton. I mean, if we just met this morning, we would have needed additional 5 hours.
So what was the other thing we were debating? Did you guys meet for breakfast?
We did.
Actually, we did meet for breakfast. Spent about half hour, 40 minutes at breakfast.
We decided last night that it was important to kind of get together, and we didn't even really talk about the case much. We didn't have the case yet. But just, not even really overall strategies of how do we want to try and attack this. It was more like, let's just get to know each other as people and friends and have a good time.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.